Good morning, everybody. I am live. Can everybody hear me? All right. Dragon Rider, welcome to the stream. Yeah, that Godzilla 2 trailer. If you want to get my reaction to it, I just posted a video about it earlier this morning. Pelter, welcome to the stream. We Are Pro Wrestling, welcome to the stream. Yep, all good. All right. What are we going to do today? Same thing we do every day, Pinky. Try to take over the world. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm sorry for doing this so early on a Sunday, but my schedule, this was literally the only time if I was going to do a stream this weekend, this was literally the only time I could do it. Unless I wanted to do it yesterday afternoon, but there was no way that was happening with the Godzilla 2 trailer coming out. Every weekend. Yes, it's every weekend we do this. Because, goddamn. There's no way on earth I could do this every day. All right, how's everybody's weekends going? I posted a poll on Twitter. I'm curious what you guys think. What was your favorite trailer to come out of Comic-Con yesterday? There were a lot of interesting trailers that came out. You could have streamed your reactions to the trailer. I didn't want to do that because I knew that my reaction to the trailer, I was going to ramble, and the video was going to wind up being like an hour long, and I didn't want to like extend the stream. You know, I like to have breaks in between. You know. So me streaming my reactions to the trailer, you know, just would have made the stream astronomically even longer. Yeah, We Are Pro Wrestling. You've been busy. A lot of the video you've put out some good stuff lately. I've been enjoying some of that. Have you seen Ant-Man? No, I haven't. I haven't seen Ant-Man yet. Victory Rose, welcome, welcome. First timer, okay. Comic-wise, I'm excited more about the Three Jokers miniseries. Okay. Yeah, Glass. A lot of people are hyped about that. I've actually never seen Unbreakable, so I have no connection to this. I did see Split, which was connected to Unbreakable, but I've never actually seen Unbreakable, which everybody tells me is Shyamalan's best movie. Personally, I'm so like turned off by most of Shyamalan's work that I'm kind of like, eh. Rumor has it we're getting Cena versus Taker at SummerSlam. Oh, joy. Joy of joys. That'll get me to watch. I'm actually more interested in Slammiversary tonight than I am SummerSlam, which is kind of sad. See, I wasn't the biggest fan of Signs. Signs is like the cinematic equivalent of a Stephen King novel. With Stephen King, it's like I've always felt with Stephen King, his books read very well, but if you analyze the story, it makes no friggin' sense. Signs has a lot of good suspense in it, but if you look at the story, especially the payoff and the reveal of the aliens, it makes no fucking sense. It's one of those movies. But there are elements to it I really like. You're up till 3 a.m. watching the Back to the Future movies. I enjoy that. That's a great decision. The Back to the Future trilogy is pretty damn good. I hope Slammiversary is a good show. They're doing some things I like. You would think with some of the programs they've got going, they ought to cobble together something watchable at least. Rumor has it the main event of SummerSlam will be Roman versus Lashley versus Lesnar. Joy of joys. I've heard Hogan's going to be like the guest enforcer / referee of that, which, okay. Halloween Havoc, or WWE may bring back Halloween Havoc and Starrcade as pay-per-views next year. Okay. That'll get me to watch again. I love how, like, after all these years now, they're trying to capitalize on WCW. And, like, oh, hey, there are a lot of fans there that never came back to wrestling. Maybe we should try and get them back. How do you feel about Hogan being brought back? It was a matter of time. Hogan's excommunication from the WWE wasn't going to be permanent. It's like once the scandal blew over, Hogan, the guest enforcer, then raises the hand of the new champion, Lashley. Oh, dear. Yeah. But yeah, Hogan's excommunication was going to be temporary. And like I said, it was just a matter of time. Some people are upset that he's brought back. I always point this out to people. It's like, look, Steve Austin got to come back and he's a wife beater, and I would argue that that's worse than what Hogan did. And if Austin can come back, I think Hogan can come back. We're going to use that standard. Austin, I'm trying not to bash him too much. I'm sure he went through a lot of personal shit. He's, by all appearances, has cleaned up his life, but he went through a pretty dark period there. Still waiting for WWE to bring back World War III. Oh, aren't we all? The coolest thing about World War III is the 3-ring setup is an interesting visual, but the Battle Royal itself is not fun. If they pay for a good Halloween Havoc set, would be fun. Yeah, the Halloween Havoc sets were always cool. That was one of the things I always liked about WCW. Like, each pay-per-view had like its own very distinct set, so you felt like you were watching a different show. And that's part of the problem with WWE these days, is that all of their shows look the fucking same. Like cookie cutter, that just the exact same. And I'm like, I just feel like I'm watching the same thing every time. Which is your favorite Godzilla roar? Probably, that's hard to say. I really like the original, the 1954 roar. I like the classic Showa roar. I also like the 90s Hisai roar. Those are probably my favorites. The 2014 legendary roar, that was also very good. 1998 was the best Halloween Havoc set. I'm trying to remember, what was that one? 97 had the graveyard, right? I remember that. I remember liking the 97 one. I don't remember what the 98 one was. All right, I'm just going to pull this up on the network right now. Yeah, because we're here to watch Clash of Champions and Saturday Night's Main Event. But before I jump into those shows, that's right, 98. It was the Devil with the Huge Pumpkin. Okay. Samoa Joe said his favorite Godzilla movie is the second Mecha Godzilla movie. Is that the 90s one? He might be talking about Terror of Mecha Godzilla. He might also, it could be, he's either talking about the 90s one or Terror of Mecha Godzilla. Terror of Mecha Godzilla is a personal favorite of mine too. So, Samoa Joe and I, if he was talking about that one, it's like, oh, cool. Great. Great minds think alike. But anyway, I want to review the weekly wrestling shows that I watched throughout the week. 205 Live, thought was a little dry this week. Again, having to come after SmackDown, that show clearly has no atmosphere because the crowd is clearly dead. And there was nothing on this week's show that kind of livened them up a little bit. We're getting a 4-way contenders match next week. So hopefully that'll spark and make a more interesting show. But overall, I thought this week's show was fairly forgettable. I do like Drew Gulak and his whole little group there, but there wasn't a whole lot of great stuff on 205 Live this week. For NXT, we got a lot. Yes, War Raiders did have a really good video package. We got a good video package for War Raiders. We got a good video package for Velveteen Dream. The 3-way contenders match for the women's title was pretty good. Nothing groundbreaking on this week's show, but again, with NXT, it's slow and steady wins the race, and they're getting where. And next week, we're getting a big match with Aleister Black taking on Tommaso Ciampa, so I'm looking forward to that. So, okay episode of NXT this week. Not an overly memorable one, but an overall solid viewing experience. Sorry, FT Legend, welcome to the stream. I watched Godzilla 2014 yesterday, and I was bored out of my mind. I liked the movie. I know a lot of people say the same thing. I liked it, but I'm probably in the minority. Okay. So NXT, I thought was a solid show. Ring of Honor, I finally watched the episode with the Tag Team Gauntlet. I thought that was pretty good. The 6-man Tag Team Gauntlet to determine number 1 contenders for the 6-man tag titles. The most pointless championship in Ring of Honor right now, but Still, it was a solid match. And we also got Kelly Klein beating up on Jenny Rose, so that was cool to see. Kelly Klein looked good in more ways than one. So I enjoyed Ring of Honor this week. Impact was basically just a reminder that Slammiversary was happening on Sunday and little more than that. A lot of video packages, a lot of promos. Not really a hot angle. They did some stuff with Moose and Aries at the end, and they did a brief thing with Pentagon and Sami Callihan. But other than that, it was just kind of like a big reminder that the pay-per-view is happening tonight. So I'm still excited for the pay-per-view, but the show this week wasn't that great. Would you believe me if I told you I heard someone say they hated the crowd cheering like crazy for the recent Undisputed Era Mustache Mountain match? Why would you be mad at a crowd cheering like crazy for a match? That's weird. That's kind of what they're trying to do, right? I mean, that's kind of the goal. What else did I watch this week? Lucha Underground. I watched that on Amazon Prime because Univision and friggin' Dish Network still can't get their shit together. So I'm forced to buy the episodes on Amazon Prime, which I know I could watch it for free online, but I want to support Lucha Underground. And if I can do that by buying the episodes on Amazon Prime for $3 a week, I can do that. But anyway, I thought this week's show was probably the weakest show they've done so far for season 4, but it was still good. We got some good stuff. I really am digging the Worldwide Underground versus Reptile Tribe stuff. I think that is going to be when we get around to doing that match. I think that's going to be really good. I'm also liking the development of Ricky Mundo with the creepy talking doll. I love that shit. It's so weird, but it's so great. Vibora, I'm becoming a bigger mark for that guy as time goes on. The Luchasaurus, I think he's great. And he got a big win over Mundo on this episode, which was kind of surprising. And I also enjoyed the Pentagon Cage title match, which it appears that they're not done yet because Cage broke out of Pentagon trying to break his arm, so they may still keep something going. I wasn't a huge fan of Mil Muertes being dropped from the Gift of the Gods match. I thought that whole Battle Royal thing was really rushed. I was kind of hoping Mil would win it, to be honest, but him getting taken out of it, I guess, kind of like frees it up and lets keeps it. It was like, oh, how do we get Mil out of this thing and keep him from winning it and being too dominant? But I also wasn't a fan of Paul London losing. After last week's show where they did this whole thing where he murdered Masquerita Sagrada and now he's supposed to be this darker character. He looks like the Shade for you DC comic fans out there. Paul London is looking like the Shade now. I was just kind of hoping Paul London would win and keep that streak going. Also, I love the Rabbit Tribes. So, but overall, maybe this episode tried to do a little too much, but I still enjoyed it. I thought there was some good stuff on the episode. All right, keeping up with the comments. Have you seen The Hills Have Eyes, and what did you think of it? I've seen the original. I have not seen the remake. I really like the original, but I've never seen the remake, so I can't tell you if that's what you're talking about. But I do like the original. What you can't be mad at is a crowd who wanted a certain match in the main event completely ruined the match that ended up in the main event. Well, I mean, the thing with WWE is that they are so friggin' stubborn that they want to do whatever the hell they want to do, that when their fans are just straight up telling them what they want and they won't give it to them, I can understand how that can be pretty frustrating. Any thoughts on the NXT UK brand? I'm actually going to at least one of the 2 tapings this coming weekend. I'm not sure if I can see it working out, but it's nice to see some opportunities for the UK guys. Honestly, I would have just brought the UK guys over to NXT. This just feels like an overextension of the brand itself. NXT, it's weird because NXT is allowed to pull from all these different sources. They can pull from the Indies, they can pull from the Performance Center, they can pull from the UK, from Australia. And UK, by making it UK exclusive, it really limits the talent pool that you can pull from. Not that those guys aren't talented. A lot of them are. It's just going to be hard to make that show sustainable, I think. But, we'll see. The stables in Lucha Underground remind me of the factions in New Japan. Kinda. They're more like comic booky, but sure. Yeah, I mean, there is that element there. Building all the different tribes. Nothing is confirmed, but some people have said that Daniel Bryan is re-signed. Others says he still may not have. We'll see. Thanks, Dave Meltzer. Yeah, Dave Meltzer ruined everything. Star ratings are bullshit. Speaking of that, don't watch the main event to Extreme Rules unless you want an obnoxious crowd. I heard about that. I have not watched Extreme Rules, for those of you that are wondering. I have not watched it. But I heard about what happened in the main event with them counting down and doing the Royal Rumble buzzer for the Iron Man match. I like that they put the Iron Man match in the main event. I thought that was a good move. And it's like, okay, change things up a little bit, put Seth in a main event where he kind of belongs, and raises the stakes for the Intercontinental title, makes it feel a little bit more important. So I like that they did that, actually. I mean, it's better than doing Roman and Lashley in the main event, which, I mean, shit. Part of the problem now is that each pay-per-view is 4 hours long, and if they're going to run with that, they've got to recondition the audience for those type of long shows, because we're dealing with an audience that is used to 3 hour that are used to 3 hour pay-per-views, and now it's like by the time they get to the main event, they're just burnt out. The fans wanted Rollins Ziggler in the main event. It was the main event, and then they ruined that match. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a case WWE kind of gave them what they wanted, and they shat on it anyway. 8 falls in 30 minutes. That's like some Ricky Steamboat, Rick Rude type of stuff right there. The crowd gave Lashley and Roman more respect than the main event. Crowds are weird. Can Seth bring in the numbers, though? Can anybody bring in the numbers at this point? I mean, the last I hear, the ratings are tanking. The match was boring. Can't blame my home crowd. Again, I think it's symptomatic of the pay-per-views are just being too long. And that's the other thing. The WWE keeps marketing towards children, and we're gonna be PG and we're gonna market towards children. But then it's like, but guys, you keep extending the show. What child is gonna stay up till midnight on a school night to watch a wrestling show? There were a lot of pay-per-views back in the day when I was a kid. I was not allowed to go attend in person because it was a school night. And Dad was like, no, you can't go. It's a Sunday. It's a school night. You won't get to bed until like 1:30 in the morning. It's no way. I mean, if I was going to go to those shows, I would have to take off school the next day, which it's kind of weird. Whenever I do something like that now as an adult, I always take off the next day at work. It's some people take off the day of work. I'll take off the next day because it's like, dude, if I'm not getting home till 1:30, I'm going to be way too fucked up for work. No one brings in the ratings for WWE. Well, clearly, because the ratings keep going down. WWE markets to kids and hardcore fans. It's a weird mix. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's like oil and water right there. Okay. All right, I want to remind everybody on the stream that for those of you that care, I posted a video reacting to the Godzilla 2 trailer, as well as posting my review of the latest Godzilla movie that dropped on Netflix this week, Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle, Part 2 of the anime trilogy that they're doing. Yeah, or just don't watch it. That's my whole thing. It's like, look, I'm just not enjoying main roster WWE right now, so I don't see any reason to watch it. Why waste my time on something I'm not enjoying? I have a hard enough time keeping up with the stuff I like. I have not watched any of the G1 Climax yet. I'm probably gonna start on that tomorrow. I should note that the reaction video, I filmed it at 2:00 in the morning, and I was extremely tired. So there's a real good chance that I didn't go back and watch it, but there's a real good chance I'm a babbling idiot in there. The excitement caused by the trailer combined with my tiredness made for a very weird mix, I'm sure. Would you ever do another video series like showcasing the Immortals? Funny you should mention that. I have an idea for a WrestleMania series next year. We'll see if that pans out. Is G1 bigger than Mania? For me, it is. For me personally, as a show, probably not. But for me, it's like I'm way more interested in G1 than I am WrestleMania. That's just how it is. Oh, Okada dyed his hair red? Does that mean he's mad? Showcasing the underrated. No, I guess I could just tell you guys now. The video series I'm thinking about doing is WrestleMania MVP. No, I already did that. Yeah, I did that this year. Thinking about doing, continuing the live stream idea for WrestleMania, where I'll pick 2 matches from each WrestleMania and live stream it, and you get to watch my reactions and my thoughts on those matches as I'm revisiting them. So it'll be WrestleMania live streams. And that'll come down to, all right, which 2 matches from each show do I want to watch? Do I want to let you guys pick one of the matches for each show? If I'm going to do WrestleMania 19, HBK Jericho, like my first top 2 picks would be HBK Jericho and Hogan McMahon. So, yeah, there's a real good chance that HBK Jericho would make the cut. The Gimmick Battle Royal, yeah, I kind of would like to go watch that again. For WrestleMania 22, it'll be 2 straight viewings of Cena versus Triple H. Oh God, that'd be my hell. That would be my hell. You wouldn't want to talk about the main event botch? Which one? For Angle Lesnar? I mean, I guess I could go back and watch that again just to see if I can finally get on board and think of it as one of the best matches of all time. Doubt it'll happen, though. Oh my God, I'm looking at my Roku right now, and this thing's okay. Ready Player One and A Quiet Place are already available for download on like Google Play and shit. It's like, God, these movies keep coming out faster and faster. What do you think about Mike Tenay? I like him as like a source of knowledge. I think he's very knowledgeable, and I think he brings that to the commentary booth, and I really enjoy him for that. I think that's exactly why WWE never brought him in, because they're just not interested in a guy that knows the history of the business. That's just not something that intrigues them or thinks they make, or it's not something that they think makes a good commentary team. They want a doofus that just sits there, smiles, and plugs the show and the network and everything else 850 times. Yeah, Angle Lesnar, I think it's, it's funny, of the big matches on that show, I think it's the weakest one, to be perfectly honest, because HBK Jericho was great. Rockin' Austin was great. Hogan McMahon blew away everybody's expectations and was great. I enjoyed Triple H and Booker T. I know that it has kind of a dubious reputation now because people feel that Booker should have gone over. And a lot of people, myself included, I don't like the finish. The finish is ridiculous, but it's, I mean, I knew Booker wasn't going to go over, so I kind of didn't get too invested in wanting to see a title change there. For what it is, I think it's a solid match. Angle Lesnar is arguably the weakest of the 5. Just my take. And the botch has a lot to do with that. All right, tickets go on sale on August 8th. Okay, for Honor Club members. All right, so I'm going to have to re-up Honor Club. Or I'm going to have to get a subscription to Honor Club and buy the tickets. Yeah, because I really want to go to that show. I might even skip Mania, but I just want to go see the G1 Supercard. God, if I get to see Kazuchika Okada in person, I will mark out like a bitch. And Omega, I've never seen Omega in person, so yeah, that's going to be a great experience. Hopefully I can get tickets. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to go finish this cup of coffee real quick. Going to go get my phone. I'll be back in like 10 seconds, and then we'll go ahead and start. Will a black wrestler have to win the WWE title to be considered the first black WWE champ in WWE, or will the Universal title do, since that is the ¡1 belt in the company on the flagship show? The world titles is like interchangeable between those 2 belts, so I think whoever, if a black wrestler does win the title, they'll just say he's the first black WWE champ. But Rock was the first black champion, wasn't he? I mean, I know he's half Samoan, half black, but doesn't that count? Personally, I never thought Austin Rock 3 was that great. I liked it as a farewell to Steve Austin. I think, the funny thing is WrestleMania 19 probably would have been the time to do Hogan versus Austin. But, Austin Rock 3 was a bit repetitive. But I enjoy that match as kind of like a swan song for Steve. I'm an Honor Club VIP member, and I live here in MSG, so you can come with me. I'll get to. No, don't worry about it, dude. I've actually got a group of friends. We're planning like a road trip. We're already like talking about it. So it might be. I have a friend who lives in New York that he wants to go, and I have 2 friends that live around here that are big wrestling fans, and they want to go. So this might be like a huge like, oh my god, you friends get to meet my friend Eric, and like, oh my god, it's gonna be crazy. I had that opportunity here 3 weeks ago in the UK. Ishii and Okada versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki. Waited years to see Okada. Yeah, I like a Suzuki is someone I'd like to see in person, and then hide behind my chair because he's the scariest dude in pro wrestling. If Hogan had faced Austin at Mania 18, would the fans have turned on Austin like they did The Rock? I'm inclined to say yes because that crowd was so into Hogan. I think the Toronto crowd was just so into Hogan. Now, if WrestleMania 18 had been held in New York, if it had been held in Texas, completely different scenario. I think the fact that it was in Toronto, which is a big hotbed for Hogan country, I think definitely was a huge factor in why the crowd was as lively as they were, and why they were so into Hogan. I'm inclined to think that Hogan would have gotten cheered over Austin. Maybe not to the degree that he was in the situation with The Rock, but yeah, I'm sorry. I just got a picture of red-haired Okada. That's interesting. All right, coffee's done. All right, I'll be right back. Just give me about 10 seconds. Hello, I am back. Why is Hogan big in Canada? I have no idea. I mean, that was also Canada was where the big event took place, and they drew that massive crowd for what was essentially a what was it? I make it when he is off screen. That was 29 seconds. Oh, sorry. It's kind of like all right. I'm going on King Kong Bundy versus SD Jones time. And WrestleMania 6 also huge, but that crowd was split. That was a split crowd for Hogan and Warrior. Like who got cheered more in that main event? Because I can't tell. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, I didn't quite get to finish the point. But Ready Player One and A Quiet Place are already out for download. It's like these movies. Why even go to the movie theater? They'll just be out in like a month or 2 months. It's just crazy. But no, I have A Quiet Place to watch. I really enjoyed that movie. So cool. Yeah, that WrestleMania 21, they popped huge for Hogan. Was that leg selling from Hogan just good selling? In what case? Like, what example? Movie fan, welcome to the stream. I think Hogan was cheered a bit more. Okay. All right, let's go back into the network. Hello, WWE. I don't watch your shows Mondays or Tuesdays, but I'm always on the network. Why is that? Because you got a great video library. Got some good shit. Okay, we're going to start off with Clash of the Champions. It'll be number 19 in Tuesday. What is it? The Tuesday, June 16th, 1992. I'll give, for those of you following along on the network, I'll give you a couple minutes to get there. Oh, in the Mania 6 main event, Hogan got thrown outside the ring and started selling his leg like he was really hurt. That was selling. Like, yeah, that wasn't legit. He was just selling. Oh, so I guess I'll ask you guys, for those of you that actually watched Extreme Rules last week, who actually Did you actually enjoy the show? Did anybody like it? Do you have a favorite episode of Nitro? I guess my favorite episode would be the one where Goldberg won the title. That felt like, that was one of the few cases where a weekly program felt like it was as big as a WrestleMania. Like, it was the setting, the moment. It was huge. It was okay. It was okay. Yeah. All caps. I loved Extreme Rules. Are you being serious, or is that supposed to be like facetious? What went wrong? AJ versus Nakamura feud in WWE. Oh God. How much time do you got? Oh man, sorry if it looks like I'm fiddling with my thumb, it's because I actually, while I was cooking breakfast this morning, I burned my thumb on my griddle, and now I've got this huge friggin' blister on it. So it's like, it's annoying. The kickoff show was better than the actual show. That's hilarious. I'm serious apart from the main event. Okay. Yeah, I heard like the show wasn't terrible. That's the general consensus. An evil bus driver. I'm surprised they didn't do that in the 90s. Okay. Alrighty, we're going to kick things off right now. All right, Clash of the Champions 19 features the beginning of the NWA World Tag Team Championship Tournament, a tournament that would conclude at Great American Bash 1992. I don't think that's your thumb you're fiddling with. Oh, let's keep it clean here. This is a G-rated stream. Not. But anyway, yeah, this Clash of Champions leads into Great American Bash 1992, which was the first WCW pay-per-view I ever watched, and also featured that amazing Sting versus Vader championship match, which might be my favorite match in WCW history. Which current New Japan wrestler theme is currently your favorite? Probably Suzuki's. Mass Transit and ECW, but then we know what... Oh, God, that was... Yeah. Did you watch it live on pay-per-view? I did. I did watch Great American Bash live on pay-per-view. It was the first WCW pay-per-view that my parents ever purchased for me because they're good peoples. All right, we're going to get things started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Should I be like Wayne's World where like you don't say one? You just don't. You just don't say one. From every corner of the globe, the toughest teams in so yeah, this show is going to be nothing but tag matches, pretty much, at least from a in-ring perspective. When World Championship Wrestling presents the first round of the NWA World Tag Team Tournament here on Clash of the Champions. Did Bagwell get screwed by WWE? He got put into a bad situation with that match with Booker. Which it's like, I started watching or started listening to Something to Wrestle With this week with Conrad and Bruce, and listening to Bruce try to like justify putting on the Booker Bagwell match a week before they were in Atlanta. It's like, yeah, okay, man. It feels like they were set up to fail, but that's just me. What are your thoughts on Matt Riddle? I think he'd be great in New Japan. I haven't seen enough of Matt Riddle to really say. Oh, there's Missy Hyatt. She's got a big mouth. Got a legitimately big mouth. I wonder what that's for. So far, what would you say is the weakest season of Lucha Underground? Well, season 4 is still in its early stages, so it's hard to say. I would say 2 is of the completed seasons. I'd say season 2 is probably the weakest overall. Magnum TA. What could have been? I always liked Magnum TA. Are we getting commentary this stream? From me? What did you think of Kenzo Suzuki? Bill Watts, the asshole. Kenzo Suzuki, he was just kind of a guy that was there for a cup of coffee and didn't really pan out. What is the weakest NXT takeover? I remember thinking the London one was the weakest. I'd have to go back and look at the specific cards to really get a reminder. But I remember thinking the first London one was kind of like, was only pretty good instead of great like all the other ones were. I mean, commentating in the matches, I assume we do.
Okay, the Steiner's number one seed. Of course, Eric Bischoff is with us with some big interviews for sure. But down at ringside,
what went wrong after Money in the Bank 2011? Triple H got his big nose involved. That's what happened. Oh, there's Jim Ross. And Jesse the Body Ventura. You would think that Jesse the Body and Jim Ross would be one of the greatest commentary teams of all time, but they didn't really click.
Jim Ross, I'm waiting because I got a hard question to ask WCW champion Sting, and it concerns Big Van Vader. But I'm pumped up. This is my first clash with WCW, and I know I'm going to remember it forever.
God, we got Jesse on Saturday night's main event and Clash of Champions this week. That's going to be crazy. I went to the London one. Very good atmosphere, but I'd probably agree. Okay. What was the main event to the London one? Was that Balor and Joe? I remember it being Balor and Joe as the main event. Yeah, Attitude Era Jim Ross and Prime Ventura. Yeah, that's the team. Joe Malenko and Dean Malenko. A family team. They look like a circus act. Like, they look like, if you've ever seen Big Top Pee-wee, like, oh, we're the people, the Poopala brothers. Oh, we're the Malenko brothers. Look at us. Aha. What went wrong? Mordecai and Kevin Thorne. For some reason, only supernatural gimmicks work when it's The Undertaker and WWE. Ricky Steamboat and Nikita Koloff. That's the other team. That's a weird pairing. Steamboat and Koloff. That is a very weird pairing. We get a bunch of Ventura in these streams. Yeah. Speaking of Ventura, I highly recommend listening to this week's episode of 83 Weeks. Eric Bischoff tells a great story about Jesse Ventura. That's kind of amazing. And really highlights is like, wow, Bischoff, he can be brutal sometimes.
We know that Steamboat is a 5-time former NWA World Tag Champion. Koloff has held the NWA title on 2 occasions, 7 championships between them, and even though the Malenkos have been wrestling as a team for 13 years, they may not have the decided teamwork advantage that we thought going in.
Well, I think the reason that Steamboat and Koloff are not ranked is simply they have not tagged up enough. So they cannot possibly seed them for this Clash tournament, NWA tournament.
Favorite podcast, Something to Wrestle or 83 Weeks? I like both. I think Bruce provides a lot of like insight on the creative side of things, which is very interesting. I like the perspective that Bischoff brings because he's more focused on the business and production side of it. And that's really interesting to me. It's like a different perspective that we don't always get because it's always either in-ring or creative. But Bischoff's talks a lot specifically about television production and the business side of things, which is really interesting. And also, Bischoff is just such an asshole that I kind of enjoy it. Would you say the main event to Starrcade 97 was the first big mistake that led to the end of WCW? Yes. Yes, I would. Have you heard the story where Austin was stuck in the ropes and was yelling Jesse to save him, but he was too busy sucking up to the crowd? I had not heard that story. Why would he be yelling for Jesse Ventura to save him? You know, people always said that Dean Malenko looked bland. It's like Joe Malenko's even blander than him. Oh, look at Steamboat. Steamboat is so good. And the Malenkos are very, very technically sound.
You know what the key is for the Dragon? He gets in so deep with that arm drag. He probably, in my opinion, has the best arm drag in the world of wrestling today. It's a simple maneuver, but it can be extremely effective, and nobody does it any finer.
How would you have reacted live if Rock won at Mania 29? Probably, okay. That's probably how I would have reacted. Because it's a match I didn't care about, so... I mean, we were ready to go home by around the halfway point of that match. We were like, all right, guys, can we wrap this up, please, and go home? Yeah, Malenko, I think he's best suited as like in a training capacity because he can teach you the technical stuff like nobody's business. The entertainment side of things, not his forte, and he had a harder time connecting with the audience than a lot of other guys. But if you need somebody who's technically sound to teach you the ropes, Malenko is a very good source for that. I mean, I was watching because I've been watching a lot of the old Great American Bashes lately, and that match he had with Ray at 96, very technically sound match, but there's not a lot of flavor to it, and there's not a lot of like intrigue to it. It's just kind of like them doing the moves, and that's something that Malenko really struggled with, and that's why the program with Jericho was so good because it kind of brought out a little bit more from Malenko and Jericho. I mean, that feud was Jericho's coming out party for me. Oh, this was at SummerSlam 99. Okay, Jesse was the referee or something. Heel Triple H had to save him, which made no sense because in that scenario, the heel would wake on the superstar stuck in the ropes. Yeah. In the network era, do you think Mania will ever be held abroad? Well, there's talk that they're going to be doing a WrestleMania from Saudi Arabia later next year after the real WrestleMania, kind of like what they did with the Royal Rumble this year. We'll see how that happens. It's a possibility. Oh, look at Dean go. Oh, Nikita caught him. Oh, dropkick to the back. Pin attempt. No, Nikita powers out. How much more can Vince really try to get Roman over as a top face? I don't know. Like he's got to turn him. I'm sorry, or just give up on him entirely. WWE is already looking for cities for Mania 36 in 2020. Nice drop kick by Dean.
Originally from Budapest, Hungary. Their heritage.
I want WrestleMania to come to Canada so I can go. Well, you've gotten a couple of WrestleManias in Canada. A couple of big matches, at least. Hogan Warrior and Hogan Rock. I wouldn't say those shows are among the best Manias, but those two matches are among some of the best Mania matches for sure. Roll up by Nikita? Nope. Dean. Here comes Steamboat.
And did you see him hold on to that arm bar? That'll snap the shoulder, snap the elbow, man, could get hurt and the career.
Have you seen the ad that Ryback made of him clotheslining a fat woman into a pool only for her to come out skinny and fit? I have seen that. That's a little funny. When did you get your Lego Death Star and how long did it take to put together? I got it in 2014. I had just started a new job at that point, and it was really like a big career change for me. And I decided to reward myself with a Lego Death Star, which is very mature and adult of me. How long did it take me to build? If I had to guess, it took three 3-hour sessions to build the whole thing. Do you think the Thrawn trilogy could work as a video game series? Sure, why not? I mean, I think so. Why not? You know, a lot of big battle sequences. You get some big fights in there. Yeah, you can turn that into a video game. Actually, speaking of that, that reminds me. I posed this question to people. Does anyone think, and I've been thinking about this. Oh, look, it's collision. Dean was going, or Steamboat was going for a head scissors, but Dean looked like he collapsed, and Steamboat just went right face first into the ring post, or into the turnbuckle. Oh, nice double team. That looked like a case where the botch probably made the match better in a weird way. The final boss would be Luke. But anyway, going back to my point, I've been thinking about this more and more. Does anybody else think that for the first movie, for The Force Awakens, instead of doing episode 7, do you think they should have like straight up opened up the opening crawl, episode 10? Like, how do you think people would have reacted to that? I would have loved it, but I could see people being like, what the fuck? There's stuff in between? That's bullshit. I can see people reacting that way, but to me, that would have been a great callback to episode 4 and would have actually, told the story that's like, oh, there's been a huge time gap between 6 and, episode 6 and what's going on right now. I mean, there's been like 30 years. You mean to tell me that like nothing happened for 30 years?
That's exactly what we're seeing here now. So their game plan offensively, beginning to unfold here. Quite frankly, Jess, this is the first time they've had the opportunity to sustain any offense.
Yeah, 7, 8, 9 would have been the Thrawn trilogy, exactly. And they could have stayed canon. But that would have been like, I mean, if you wanted to shock people, that would have been the first like big shock of the movie. It's like, wait, it's episode 10? Big clothesline by Joe. Thoughts on Ghostbusters 2? It's a movie that I should hate. Because it does a lot of things that I hate about sequels. In that it's basically just the same goddamn movie, but with a baby. It's basically the same movie. Ooh, bad timing there on Joe. Bad timing there on Joe. But I still like the cast. I still like the characters, and there's still some funny lines in it. So it's a movie that I consider to be okay, but it does a lot of things that I hate about sequels. Big tag to Nikita. There we go. Boom. You mentioned your sister a few times in your vids. I picture her looking like you in a wig. No, we don't look alike at all. She's got flaming red hair. Like she is the most Irish looking person I've ever seen in my life. And my sister, like, she got all the Irish genes. So no, we don't look anything alike. Nikita is tearing it up. Oh yeah, look at that. Nikita gets the win. That was a good match. Good solid match. Are you sure she's your sister then? Well, funny thing. Okay, so I have 3 siblings. And all 3 of my siblings were born in October. I was the only one. Not only was I the only one not born in October, I was born in March, which is way off. So my sister likes to make fun of me and say that I was an accident or that I was dropped off at the doorstep by gypsies. I don't like to think of myself as an accident. I like to think of myself as a unplanned miracle. Maybe I'm adopted. Yeah. The Wrestling Hotline. There's that Saved by the Bell graphic again. It looks like Saved by the Bell. Am I crazy for thinking that? Yeah, and actually, I have 2 friends from college that they got married and they started having kids. They have 3 kids, and they're all born around like November, December. It's like, yeah, you really timed all these kids perfectly. Accidentally on purpose. Wasn't that a TV show? Was that? I think I remember seeing that. The Z-Man and Marcus Bagwell. 2 wrestling punchlines. It looks so 90s. Yeah, this show looks very 90s. I mean, it is 1992, so I guess I can't fault it for that, but, you know. Well, you know. My family and me have literally nothing in common. It's weird. I've got a lot of like things in common with my family, but there's a lot of stark differences. I'm a very soft-spoken person, believe it or not. There's Medusa coming out with Rick Rude and Stunning Steve Austin. We got a preview of that tag team last week. It's still weird to see Austin with hair. It's so friggin' weird. Tony Schiavone, the Z-Man's #1 fan. My dad and I were watching The World Is Not Enough and Dr. No the other night. What do you think of those movies? I think Dr. No is one of the best Bond films and a great one to start with. World Is Not Enough, kind of bad, like most of the Brosnan films. I did like Sophie Marceau in the movie, but other than that, I think it's kind of a forgettable film. Denise Richards as a nuclear physicist. That's every time I think about that, that makes me chuckle. I'm like, yeah, I buy that. I totally buy that. I mean, Denise Richards was hot as hell back in the day, but a nuclear physicist, I don't know if she can convincingly play that role. Rick Rude starting on Marcus. He's buff and he's got the stuff. But I remember Buff Bagwell was over with that Attitude Era Monday Night Wars crowd. Buff Bagwell was over. I know that sounds crazy to say out loud. Yeah, I got the Mickey Mouse high pitch. Goddamn, son of a bitch! Motherfucker! I'll kill you, you motherfucker! You put a motherfucker in a box, he's over! Goddamn, it's Wrestling 101! To be fair, everyone was over during that time. Yeah, Crash Holly was over. Like, if you couldn't get over in the late 90s, early 2000s, fuck you. That's like, there's something severely wrong with you. Jake Roberts is the king of soft-spoken. Now, he's more like mellow, but his voice is very gravelly. Yeah, the Connery films are the best. I think for Bond, the Connery films are by far the best ones. That's the best era for Bond. I mean, that version of James Bond is just an alpha male. He's just fantastic.
Z-Man's given up a few pounds. He's in great shape, a former Mr. Minnesota, but I'm not sure if he wants to do a Greco-Roman knuckle lock with Stunning Steve.
Thoughts on Rambo? I love the Rambo movies. I think they're great. The only, like, weak one, quote-unquote weak one, is Part 3. But I think First Blood is a fantastic movie. I think First Blood 2... Rambo, dropkick by Rude. I think that's probably the definitive Rambo movie for a lot of people. When people think of Rambo, I think that's the movie that comes to mind, and it's very iconic for that. I prefer the first one, but I understand why the second one is... Ooh, big suplex by Rude. Looks like he drove Z-Man through the mat. Yeah, so I really enjoyed Part 2 as well. 3 is kind of the weakest one. Very jokey and weird. It almost feels like a parody of Rambo. Like Hot Shots Part 2 or something. And I loved Rambo 4. I thought... I know it's called just Rambo, but I call it Rambo 4. Fuck it. I thought that movie was very, very good and massively underrated by critics. A lot of Rambo fans really liked it, but critics kind of panned it. I thought it was great. Do you think current WWE wrestlers work for the hard camera too much? I mean, I understand why they do. It's that's an example of the production side of things advancing, where they just got to get a shot of all the best stuff. I don't necessarily have too big a problem with it, but I can understand how it can get like it can feel kind of staged if you do it all the time. Have you read or seen any of the DC Hanna-Barbera crossover series? No, I haven't, but everybody keeps telling me I need to check out that Flintstones comic, which is apparently amazing. I finally saw It from last year the other night. I wasn't scared that much. It was fine. Yeah, I thought the stuff with the clown was great. I loved Pennywise in that movie. Some of the kid stuff was a little weird. Some of it worked really well for me and had like kind of that Stranger Things vibe where it's like this feels like a bunch of kids hanging out. But then other times it got really weird, like the kids stripping down to their underwear and going into the pool with each other. I'm like, should I be arrested for watching this? I feel like I should be arrested for watching this. That was a little weird. When I was at TakeOver Philly, I was looking right at the hard camera.
Made a mistake there. He dropped his head.
Oh, Rude dropped Z-Man down.
Drove him head first into the canvas.
Pile driver by Rude. Remember back in the day where you'd see like 3 or 4 pile drivers every show?
Over if they wanted to be.
They're pressing the vertebra there. Very arrogant cover, and the Z-Man got
Yeah, what other Hanna-Barbera characters have shown up in the comics? I'll tell you, the big thing I've read from DC in the last few years, the Masters of the Universe stuff, I really have enjoyed the Masters of the Universe comics that they did. I love what they did with She-Ra and Shadow Weaver. That stuff was great. Now the only person allowed to do a pile driver is Undertaker. Well, I think it happened because a lot of people were getting hurt on pile drivers, and I listened to Lance Storm talk about this. It's like, dude, it's just a matter of doing it right. He said something to the effect of, I would let Fit Finley pile drive me 100 times in a row because I know he won't fuck it up. Did you hear the story about Mr. Kennedy doing a pile driver to Undertaker? No, I didn't. What was that story? Hot tag coming? Hot tag coming? No. Oh, nice shot by Steve. Stunning Steve. I can't wait until we see the Hollywood Blondes on these clashes. I really like the Hollywood Blondes. Oh, fans are booing. Remember back when the heels would get booed? I kind of miss. Again, it's one of the things that's unfortunate about losing kayfabe. It's almost like the crowds react like it nowadays, like they know it's fake, and they don't want to pretend that it's not fake. And, you know, if I go to a show, I want to get sucked into it, you know? Like, I mean, I know Godzilla movies are fake, but I still want to, like, treat it like Godzilla's a real thing within the context of the movie, you know? And that, like Rocky, those movies are fake, but I still want Rocky to win the fight. I would never chant "fight forever" during a Rocky movie because I want Rocky to win. I don't want them to fight forever. In one of their matches, Taker told Kennedy to give him a pile driver. After the match, Vince went to Kennedy and told him never do that again. That sounds like a setup. That sounds like Taker was fucking with him.
We almost had a major upset right there, Jim Ross. Stunning Steve going for a side backbreaker. Hooks the leg.
Technically, boxing fights can't go forever. True, they can't. You know, Rude and Steve Austin, they were a good team. Sunset flip by Bagwell. Oh, look at that. Steve holding on. Z-Man breaks it up, but the referee can't see the roll-up anyway, so. Drop kick by Bagwell. Missed that drop kick. Rude awakening. Boom. 2, 3. What do you think? What did you think of Kevin Green in WCW? It's funny you mentioned that. I just watched Great American Bash '96. I thought the football versus wrestling match was the match of the night. On a show that included Ray versus Malenko, Sting versus Regal. You know, there was another big match on there. God, have I already forgotten the show? But anyway, you know, a lot of like good, like, on paper matches that are like good work rate. I thought the football wrestling match was the match of the night. Think they have a Banana Splits one lined up. Oh, a Banana Splits comic series? That'd be interesting. A Banana Splits is one of those shows I look back on. It's like, man, drugs, they were rampant in the 60s, man. It's like, good God. What do you look for in a movie adaptation of a book? I look for the spirit of the book to be maintained, but I look for changes where necessary. We've got Dr. Death and Terry Bam Bam Gordy. Spoiler alert, those are the ones that would go on to win the tournament at Great American Bash 92. Benoit Sullivan, that was the other match I was thinking of. Yes. These streams. I'm sick of hearing about the Steiners. Like, but I love the Steiners. Did he say queers? All you think about is queers. Was he gonna say faggot on TV? Jeez. Black screen again? Jesus Christ. Black screen again. Can everybody see me? Why does this keep happening? It feels like this happens once a stream. It's really weird.
Representing Australia, from Sydney, Australia, total combined weight 452 pounds, the father and son team of Larry and Jeff O'Day.
Okay. The O'Days. A father and son team. This time you mentioned he who must not be named, and, well, you know, yeah, I guess that happens. This music is so relaxing. So chill. Just want to sit in a rocking chair and sit outside. Ooh, Japan versus Australia. Terry Bam Bam Gordy. What's the best movie adaptation of a book in your opinion? Well, there are a lot of cases where the movie's better than the book. Die Hard, I think the movie's way better than the book. First Blood, I think the movie's better than the book. Jurassic Park, book and movie are about on par with each other. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I think the movie's way better. I mean, the movie has Donald Duck versus Daffy Duck, so movie wins by default. So there are a lot of cases like that. If you're able to improve on the source material, I'd call that a successful adaptation. Die Hard was a book? Exactly. Don't even bother with the book. Just keep watching the movie. Wrestlers nowadays are too small to do the pile drivers. When landing, it can be the smallest guys say. When landing, it can be the smallest guys safely stop their opponents hitting the mats like huge guys like Taker and Kane. Yeah. I hate reading, so I don't know half these movies from books. Fair enough. I love reading. I'm always constantly reading, so. God, Papa O'Day looks old. Die Hard, Christmas movie or not a Christmas movie? Absolutely, it's a Christmas movie. Fuck anyone who says otherwise. It's absolutely a Christmas movie. Any thoughts on the Phoenix Joker Origins movie? To me, like, the Joker works best if you don't know his origin, which is why he's so great in The Dark Knight. They never explain where he comes from, and there's a lot of mystery surrounding him, and I think it's awesome. Doing an origin movie for the Joker, to me, is a failed endeavor on arrival. It's just, some things work better if there's a mystery to it, and I think Joker is one of those things. And even The Killing Joke, which explains his origin, there's a line in there that says, if I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice. So the whole origin story that's presented in The Killing Joke might be a fucking lie. So who knows? Oklahoma Stampede. 1, 2, 3. That was quick. But yeah, certain characters just work better without an origin. Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. Way better that you don't know who he is. Cobra Commander and Destro. Way better that you don't know who they are. That was where Rise of Cobra, the movie, really screwed up. The characters they gave origins to are Cobra Commander and Destro. And I'm like, fail. Fucking fail. I remember you did a top 20 Halloween movies where you do a top 20 Christmas movies in December. One of my old videos, I did a list of my top 20 favorite Christmas movies, but that was a long time ago. The Shape. Yeah, Michael Myers. All you need to know is that he's a 6-year-old kid that went nuts and was in an asylum for 20. That's all you need to know. Did you watch The Last Nitro? With a heavy heart, yes, because I knew it was bad. I did watch it and I was like, man, this sucks. I'm like a mad dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I actually caught it. I just do things. Here comes the Stinger. The WCW champ getting ready to defend the gold against Vader at the Great American Bash. James Jackson, welcome to the stream. We are about 3 matches into the Clash of Champions, and that's all you've missed. Sting is coming out to the ring for a promo with Jesse Ventura. Actually rewatched The Dark Knight a few months ago. It's better than I remember. It's one of my favorite comic book movies even to this day. I'm amazed that it's 10 years old already. I'm like, shit, I am getting old. That movie is 10 years old. God damn. Yeah, but I think my favorite comic book movies ever, it's either The Dark Knight or Logan. Those 2 movies are amazing. Why is Sting wearing a tux? That looks weird. Is he getting married or some shit? Is he going to prom? The Dark Knight is the only film I watch once a year. There are a lot of movies I watch once a year. The Star Wars trilogy, I always try to get in at least once a year. Rocky, I'll at least watch a couple of the Rocky movies once a year. And then there's a bunch of Halloween and there's a bunch of Christmas and horror movies I watch once a year around the holidays. Your channel is 8 years old, right? I know, right? Old as shit. And it's funny because my channel, I'm such a dinosaur now compared to all, you look at the production that goes into YouTube channels these days. I am such, the whole turn on a camera and film yourself and give commentary on something feels so antiquated now with no editing and all that stuff. It's so I'd imagine young kids watching my stream and going, who the fuck is this old school dinosaur piece of shit? When would you have ended Goldberg's streak? I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I wouldn't have ended it when they did. I would have at least tried to get at least another 6 months out of it. Big Van Vader. Vader time, motherfucker. The Great American Bash. Sunday, July 12th.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Clash of the Champions here on TBS. Jim Ross and Justin Liger with Kurt Buckley here at ringside. Sting and Big Van Vader on pay-per-view Sunday, July 12th. Sting has Vader in his backyard, but he's still got 200 pounds weight difference to make up.
I got a feeling that Sting's reign as champion is going to come to an end.
I like the Sting Vader match, but I wish Vader would have dominated just a little bit more. To each his own. I still think that's probably my favorite WCW match. Did Undertaker getting Origins ruin him? Yes and no, because the angle with Kane was great, but got so convoluted after a while that it just became kind of a mess. The same thing goes for Kane. The more they delved into his backstory, the more convoluted and stupid it became. Did my podcast keep going? Yes, Weekday Warriors of Wrestling on Blog Talk Radio, or on Talk Show, I should say. I should probably post a link on these videos to that. Your first video was the ECW Get Sloppy Seconds and Money in the Bank 2010 preview. Yep, I remember that. Back then, I was making videos that were 7 minutes long. That seems so long ago. I would never even consider doing a video that short nowadays. I always prepare for my videos to be at least half an hour long. 92 was the last bash for 3 years. Yep, sure was.
And ladies and gentlemen, their opponents, accompanied by the Chief Executive Officer of the
All right, we've got Dustin Rhodes and Barry Windham versus members of the Dangerous Alliance, Arn Anderson and beautiful Bobby Eaton. God, that blister looks nasty. Sick.
Arn Anderson, who I'm sure listened very closely.
I remember when you did the odd video from your car. Not sure how far back that was. I think that was like an early one. That was when that was one of those cases where I was so busy I couldn't film the video in any other way. I don't even remember what the video was, but yeah, I think it was around Christmas time. Memory serves me right.
The next contender is waiting for you.
Paulie dangerously huddling with his team. Those two men have
They did have a bash planned for 93, but canceled it due to low ticket sales.
former WCW World Tag
I never knew that. I don't remember there being one planned for 93, but I believe it.
partners in their career. Beautiful Bobby, one-time member of the Midnight Express. Arn Anderson, one-time member of the Horsemen.
That was close to the time where Bischoff took over, right?
Why has Windham still got the hand taped up? Give me a break. That thing was hurt 6 months ago.
And it was hurt by one of the men in there right now, Arn Anderson. These two men, former tag team partners, and a great team at one time. Windham, certainly looking forward to his
Prediction card for WrestleMania 29. Okay. So it wasn't that early into my YouTube career. Okay. Yeah, that car. I finally got rid of that car. I'm really happy with my new car, but that old thing was, that thing wanted to die.
Anderson needing the number 3 seed, but surprisingly Rhodes and Windham were unseeded.
I find that a bit shocking. As we stated earlier, Jim Ross, it's very interesting how the NWA set up their seeding procedures.
They chanting Paulie sucks.
Dustin Rhodes and Barry Windham, the unseeded, the two big Mexicans.
I expect this to be a good match.
Boom, Barry with the party. He nailed it with a right.
And what did he hit him with? A tape fist.
Referee Mike Jackson's admonishing Windham for using that fist. Windham was forearmed this time. Obviously,
You really should post a link to that podcast. Yeah, I should.
left there. That knee right to the abdomen.
Who's Paulie? Paulie Dangerously?
Going up top. It is
Mr. Paul Heyman? The prototype of Paul Heyman? Nice drop kick from Windham. And Arn Anderson goes down.
You know, it's not often that you see the enforcer Arn Anderson make a mistake, but he made one there. He tried to go up to the top, too soon. He didn't have Windham hurt. Windham catches him with the drop kick all the way out to the floor. And if you'll notice, Jim Ross, there are no more pads outside the ring here in WCW.
Dangerously would like the referee disqualified Barry Windham for throwing Anderson over the top rope. That obviously was not the case. And the tag
Are you surprised WWE didn't do a godlike gimmick to rival Taker's darkness gimmick? And no, Vince Wrestling God doesn't count. I think they've tried to do like Undertaker versus Supernatural gimmicks, but it's just never really panned out the same way. The closest thing to a success was Kane. But a godlike gimmick, I don't know. Like they've just had so much trouble doing those supernatural gimmicks that it would be tough to pull off. I mean, they fucked up Bray Wyatt, for crying out loud. What would you say is the best match you've seen live? The one I've enjoyed the most was probably Taker and Punk at Mania 29. I also really, even though the match has kind of a dubious reputation now, I really enjoyed being there live for Hogan versus Michaels at SummerSlam 05. I thought that was a great, wonderful live experience. I know you were talking about Paulie Dangerously, but it sounded like Paulie, yo, my friend Rock. Like Paulie from the Rocky movies. Burt Young. Oh, running big boot by Dustin. That stupid DQ rule of throwing guys out of the ring. That is like, that rule is the dumbest thing. It makes no sense. Do you think Edge and Christian should have been top heels in 2005? Yeah, well, Edge was starting to blossom into one. Christian was as well, but they didn't run with him, so I'll say yes. Best Godzilla movie of the 21st century. GMK, the 2014 film, or Shin Godzilla? Of that bunch, I would say Shin Godzilla. That was the one I enjoyed the most. GMK was the best of the Millennium films, but it was there were a few mistakes that kept it from being one of the top tier best ones. Like it was a, I think I phrased it in my review, it's a top 10 film that should have been a top 5, and they just kind of made a few mistakes along the way, but it's overall very good. The 2014 film, I really like it. I really enjoy it. I think it's great. Again, maybe if they hadn't killed Bryan Cranston so early in the film, I'd probably think more of it. But Shin Godzilla was the best one in terms of having a vision, setting out to do what they wanted to do, and executing it perfectly. And I just really enjoyed it. Do you think the WWF should have done the invasion angle when they did, or they should have waited a bit? Well, they shouldn't have done it when they did because they didn't have the stars to make it work. And if they had waited, who knows if the interest would have been there. So it's hard to say. Yeah, it's an old rule from it's an old NWA rule that by 1992 was beyond stupid. Yeah, the NWA invasion in 98. Fuck. Oh, God. Yeah, I think the experience of being there live is something that really changes your opinion of a match. It is something special that you can't get through the TV. Absolutely. And I think Hogan Michaels was one of those scenarios. Are most of the Godzilla movies you like in Japanese? If so, how do you understand it? I like watching the dubs too. I go back and forth. So I don't necessarily have to watch it in Japanese, but when I do watch it in Japanese, it's subtitled. So I just read along. The only Millennium Godzilla films I've seen are Godzilla 2000, Giant Monsters All Out Attack, and Final Wars. You've seen the three most, I guess, advertised ones, I guess we'll say. Those are the three most well-known among the fans, but Megaguirus is good, wacky fun. It's stupid, but it's good, wacky fun. Oh, look at Arn, gonna get the DDT. No, Dustin held onto the rope. Clothesline by Beautiful Bobby. Yeah, but Godzilla vs. Mechaguirus is good, silly fun. I'm not a huge fan of Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, but I thought Tokyo SOS was pretty good. So, despite not doing anything new with the material. Oh! Dustin goes for a flying crossbody and misses completely. Paul E getting a shot in. I wouldn't recommend watching Tokyo SOS without, unfortunately, like, you kind of need to see Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, the one that comes before it, to understand Tokyo SOS, because it's the only direct sequel in the entire Millennium series. Oh, big knee drop from Beautiful Bobby. 1, 2, no. Come on, Dustin. God, you almost like, okay, you look at these two teams, Dustin Rhodes and Barry Windham's and Arn Anderson and Beautiful Bobby. You kind of, like, it's amazing that one of these teams won't be at the pay-per-view for the actual, like, tournament. What's the Godzilla movie that takes place in a child's mind? I think you mean there in a child's mind that you talked about in one of your vids. That would be Godzilla's Revenge, and that is an acid trip if there ever was one. Jawbreaker. Arn goes down. This is another good match. We're getting some good tag matches on this one. Bulldog. Bulldog by Beautiful Bobby.
Is that insult to entry or what? Can you imagine Beautiful Bobby beating Dustin Rhodes with his own move? He's going to do it again.
Oh, he got out of that one. Come on, Dustin. Can't get the tag. Got the tag, but the ref didn't see it. Nope, nope. But Barry's not listening to him. Spine buster on Dustin. One, two. Dustin kicked out. Oh, he missed that. Bulldog. 1, 2, 3. Dustin and Windham win it. Kind of a sloppy Bulldog there, but I'll take it. That was probably the best match so far. Lou the Giant Cookie, welcome to the stream. I still think Arn Anderson deserved a world title run at some point. When would that have happened, though? It's like, because Arn's a guy that's like, if I was going to put a world title on him, he's the type of guy, it's like, when I have no other option, that's who you go with. The WCW poster book. Kind of wish I had that. Actually, one of my favorite things I had as a kid, I had a WWF sticker book where you collect stickers, and it's almost like trading cards, but they're stickers, basically. And I loved having that thing. I wish I still had it. Ashamed to say that due to time restraints and life generally getting in the way, I've not seen any Lucha Underground since season 1. Is it worth picking up with? Absolutely, yes, it is. How would you react if Godzilla 2 got delayed until fall 2019? I would probably murder somebody.
August 6th in Shakura and be covered all throughout Japan, with the finals being.
I didn't know Teddy Long was the manager around this time. Tag teams galore. Yep. Teddy Long was a manager.
Is that Arn Anderson, Beautiful Bobby, Stunning Steve Austin, and Ravishing Rick Rude, all 4 members of the Dangerous Alliance, are going to be competing in this event.
Very interesting indeed. Thank you very much, Missy.
Thank you.
All right, now we understand. Well, making their way now. Terry Bambi.
We're in a bad wreck, and I'm talking about a nasty, nasty wreck. There's people out there. I mean, they're all twisted up, and they got their arms.
What is Terry doing? What is Terry Gordy doing? Maybe in 1993 during the Barry feud would have been the only time, but briefly. Yeah, they could have done something there. Made Arn like kind of like a Bret Hart type. During that same time period, actually, because Bret was kind of the guy carrying the load when nobody else was around. If a wrestler botches a finish, should the wrestlers do the spot again or just go with it? It depends on how it's done. If they botch it really, really badly, they should probably either come up with a new finish on the fly or try to hit it again. If it's not that bad, should probably just go with it. But again, it's a judgment call, and that's where you have to know how to improv and make the right decision at the right time.
Let's get it all, cut through it all, and let's do it.
All right, the Puerto Rican team not able to meet the Steiner Brothers because of the injuries. We'll talk more about it as the Clash of the Champions returns here on TBS right after this.
Like Lesnar and Angle pulling another F5 out of their asses. Yeah, major guts on Angle's part. It's like, I would not be willing to take an F5 from a guy who was barely conscious.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following tournament tag team contest.
If the 1998 Zilla came out in 2014 instead of the movie we got, how would a video review have gone? It's funny you mentioned that. When I did my initial video reaction to the 2014 film, I actually had, like, if you remember when I did that, I had, like, a couple of clips lined up. And I made 4 different versions before I even saw the movie. I made the really happy version, I made a version, and I made a yeah, that was good version. I also made a really bad, like, oh, that sucked and blah blah blah. So had the 98 film, had we gotten that film in 2014, it would have been the shitty, like, oh god, this terrible version. I don't remember what those clips were like, but it was very much like that.
Perhaps a potential member of the Dangerous Alliance, Nikita Koloff. Hope you'll be with us this Saturday, WCW Saturday night at 6:05 Eastern Time. And now back up to Gary Michael Campbell. And ladies and gentlemen, their opponents from Backstreet USA in Atlanta, Georgia.
Did the Freebirds change their theme from Bad Street USA? Because fuck them. Yeah, so the Steiner Brothers got to advance because the Puerto Rican team forfeited due to injury. That's unfortunate. So we don't get to see the Steiner Brothers on this show. All right, so we've got the Fabulous Freebirds versus the Silver Kings from Mexico.
Well, they got a right to be. And you know who else I bet is angry is these 2 Mexicans. After that Supreme Court decision that any of us can run down to Mexico now, kidnap any Mexican, and bring them back here and try them.
Do the live streams usually run on Sundays? They run on the weekends. There's no, like, set time. It really just depends on my schedule and when I have free time to do it. But it's always over the weekend, so it'll always be either Saturday or Sunday.
Oh, it went for Hayes, but he got his own partner. Silver King too.
I got to ask you, Ross, how do you tell the difference between Silver King 1 and 2? Which is which?
I've done my research.
Tell me.
Why did you think Angle was going to die at Mania 19? Because he was going in there with a neck that needed to be surgically repaired, and he was going in there with Brock Lesnar, who's not the softest opponent to be working with. So I legit thought that, like, Angle, this is not going to go well. Fortunately, he got out of it moderately okay. He went into shock after the match, but, you know. I can imagine you sitting there with your head in your hands just repeating, they shot him. They shot him. Yeah, it would have looked something like that. If the Silver Kings win 10 more matches, they'll be upgraded to the Golden Kings. Very true. So should Bryan never wrestle Lesnar? Well, see, Lesnar's kind of different now. His matches barely go over 10 minutes, so Bryan won't be in there for very long. And Lesnar was the one who didn't know what planet he was on after it was... Yeah. Turns out Lesnar was the one that almost killed himself. Silver Kings versus Golden Lovers. Yeah, let's get that match.
And I'll tell you what, that's a quick trip to the chiropractor when you make one like that.
Marvin on top of the lateral press, but he couldn't hold it down. Got 2 out of it. We're going to try to get Tony Schiavone and Magnum PA to find out more about this situation, as they will be checking on it now, we're told. So we'll hope that report a little bit later here.
But suplexing Bryan on his neck won't do him any favors. True. Well, I'm sure Bryan wants to work with Lesnar because it's an interesting challenge for him, and it's also a big payday. So I'm sure he wants it, but I don't know if it's the best thing for his health. I thought the Freebirds would make quick work of them, but this is going a little bit longer than I expected. Whoa, look at that flip dive there. That was... He, like, hesitated in midair. Big elbow on Michael Hayes.
Great combination moves there by the Mexican team. International competition here at WCW in the NWA Tag Team Tournament.
Brian said he wants reasonable creative control, meaning he wants him saying who he works with. I think that's fair, considering he's coming back from a career-ending injury. I think he should have some say in who he works with. Can we get some up-close shots of the posters behind you and maybe your collection? Maybe some other time. That might be something I do. I don't feel like doing it right now because I have to walk the camera all over the place and it'd be a mess.
What does that mean?
Rough wrestling, I think.
Rough wrestling. Okay. Beautiful move there. Greco-Roman knuckle lock into a quick standing drop kick. I'll tell you, this Mexican team very quick in the ring.
Drop toe hold.
Very nice.
Nicely done indeed. Trying to get on top of the lateral press. Hayes trying to roll off his shoulder. Double leg picked up by Michael Hayes. Backs in Jimmy Jam Garvin.
Jimmy Jam Garvin, that name. That's hilarious.
Garvin sent him to the turnbuckle. Snap mare. Into the reverse chin lock.
I wonder if that turnbuckle tastes like an enchilada to this guy.
Probably not. Not nearly as appetizing. Garvin rakes the eyes.
And both men tag out. Apparently they both had enough of each other.
Hayes rakes the eyes. And it's countered. Silver King's working on the hamstrings, trying to get Hayes or Garvin off their feet. Drop kick. Got him kind of low there in the ribs. And Hayes comes back with a forearm. Very unorthodox match because the styles are so diverse here. Tag made. And,
Oh, big drop kick.
from the top.
This could be an upset. And it took Jimmy Jam's interference to save the fabulous Freebirds.
Spinning kick there.
What's a crowd moment you really wish you'd been a part of? For me, it's when Daniel turned on Bray. I mean, there's a lot of big ones I would have liked to have been there for. Foley winning the title on Monday Night Raw. That's a big one I would have loved to have been in the crowd for.
Left jab, and he stuck it in there. And now the Freebird stomping away. And all four men in there now. Freebirds run together. Referee Randy Anderson.
Something to wrestle with is doing a live show in London, and before it, there's a wrestling show which has Charles Wright appearing as the Godfather, Papa Shango, and Kama Mustafa. The three faces of Charles Wright.
They were ready for that one.
Oh, look at that. Oh! The Silver Kings. Oh, God, the partners are killing each other now.
The referee count. Two of them got to get back in the ring. And here comes P.S. Michael Hayes.
Roll up. 1, 2.
Got him.
Hayes gets the win. The Freebirds win it. That was an okay match. One of the weaker ones so far, but... The Raw GM, no, that was my phone going off. Got a tweet.
Well, it was two very diverse styles. And the Freebirds
Would you want to be in the crowd for Foley winning the title or the pop Stone Cold Steve Austin got? Both. I would have loved to have been there for both. Papa Shango, Godfather, and Kama versus Daniel, Suicide, and Curry Man. I'd be down for that. And then Mankind, Dude Love, and Cactus Jack can be the guest ring announcer, the guest referee, and the guest announcer, or the guest commentator. You know.
Partner outside the ring. And here's Silver King 2 coming off. Freebird moves out of the way. Michael Hayes, he hits his partner. And at this point, P.S. Michael Hayes firing the Silver King back in the ring. An inside great.
Yeah, this new Freebird theme sucks. I miss. Where's my Bad Street USA?
And a big win for the Freebird.
Yeah, to be in the crowd for Hogan turning it back to the beach, that would have been insane.
be unable to compete with the Steiner Brothers, and that really put the fly in the ointment, as the old cliche goes, Jess, about the Steiners' match later tonight.
I don't think it's a fly in the ointment. I think it's what we all hope for. The dream match. Bam Bam Gordy, Dr. Death Steve Williams against the Steiner Brothers.
That match is scheduled for the Great American Bash on pay-per-view. Remember, that event is on Sunday, July the 12th, and we hope to have a report from Magnum TA and Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, Money in the Bank 2011, that would have been an awesome one to be in the crowd for.
When we come back from this time out.
And then we get Terry Funk, Chainsaw Charlie, whichever night he was supposed to be at Survivor Series 93. Yeah, Hogan Rock at WrestleMania 18. That would have been insane to be in the crowd for that.
The Clash of the Champions continues here on TBS. Tony Schiavone, Magnum TA back with you. We have 2 semifinal matches now in the Great American Bash. The Steiners against Dr. Death, Steve Williams, Terry Van Bordy. And we have, of course, the team of Ravishing Rick Rude, Stunning Steve Austin against Barry Windham and Dustin Rhodes. But what about the situation we heard Eric Bischoff talk about in the Puerto Rican team and that emergency that they are no longer here with us right now?
A very serious violent confrontation took place. There was no witnesses to the fact. I have some very strong suspicions myself as to what actually happened. But I think there's going to be a long time before we get to the real bottom of the root of this problem. I think we see somebody over here might maybe have some answers.
Okay, it's Ole Anderson. Ole, of course, is the senior referee.
The voice of the Shockmaster.
What is going on? Tell us what you know about this Puerto Rican team and what has happened.
All I can tell you right now is there's a little confusion. The Puerto Ricans aren't going to be able to continue their both.
If social media was around in the 90s, do you see fans complaining that Foley took up spots in the Rumble when he entered as Cactus Jack, Mankind, and Dude Love? I could see that. Yeah, I forget the fact that it was awesome and creative. I could see people complaining about that. How do you feel about faces and heels not being allowed to travel together? I think that's dumb. Like that's just dumb.
I know the Steiners are itching. They're chomping at the bit to get hold of Dr. Cordy. A lot of accusations have been made, and I, for one, would like to see that match take place.
Okay, our next match in the NWA World Tag Team Tournament continues on TBS right after this timeout.
WCW Saturday night. Freebird Michael Hayes joins Jim Ross. Are you a wrestling book fan? And if so, what's your favorite that you've read? I am. I've read quite a few. My favorites are probably Foley's and Jericho's books because of how much detail they go into and how funny the books are. I think Jericho and Foley's books are the best ones. Flying Brian and Jushin Thunder Liger. This is going to be fun.
Two tremendous light heavyweights. Both men that have had great matches against the other. Have phenomenal respect. They're teaming for the first time. You're going to see them right here, fans, of the Clash of the Champions here on TBS. Yes, this is a tremendous team, but they really have their work cut out for them against the number 8 seed who's about to be introduced.
And ladies and gentlemen, their opponents, representing Canada, from Calgary, Canada.
My favorite books are the ones with pictures. How can you read this, Belle? There are no pictures. Beef Wellington and Chris Benoit. This is awkward.
Chris Benoit on your left.
Who's this Chris Benoit guy? I've never heard of him. Is there anything I should know about Chris Benoit?
Of course, the IWGP with New Japan Pro Wrestling had a tremendous feud with
Yeah, the Brett one is amazingly detailed.
current Western Canadian champion, and he was competing there in Calgary when Flying Brian left the Calgary Stampeders of the Canadian Football League and started
And
wrestling.
Beef Wellington, wasn't he like, didn't they discover his body on the same day that
I'll tell you what, this
the Benoit tragedy broke out? There's like this weird connection there.
Jushin Thunder Liger and Brian Pillman, what a better team that you can find in the world. Nowhere could you find a team like that.
It's Chris Benoit starting out with Jushin Thunder Liger.
Here we go.
Benoit celebrated his 25th birthday yesterday, and what a great president would be to advance and represent his country on July 12th.
Oh, look at that.
Pay-per-view, great
Chris Benoit.
Benoit firing Liger over with a nice fireman's carry. Greco-Roman knuckle lock here. Both these guys very powerful for light heavies.
Benoit the stronger of the two.
I'm not so sure.
Great leverage displayed. Jushin Thunder Liger got underneath his opponent.
Benoit and Liger apparently had some great matches over in Japan. I think I've seen a couple of them.
Liger, one of the most popular public figures in Japan, a phenomenal athlete.
Oh,
Just showed about takedown by Chris
There we go.
Benoit. Gets the momentum. Oh!
nice arm drag by Jushin. Another great one.
Irish whip is
To the ropes.
this time. Takes him up and over.
Oh, missed the drop kick.
Everybody there.
Missed that drop kick.
For the drop kick from Liger. As we said,
According to Wiki, they died on the same day. Jesus. What do you think of the Family Guy Star Wars episodes? They're okay, but they're not. I've seen better Star Wars parodies. I think Robot Chicken does a better job, which is ironically one of the jokes in the episode is that the Family Guy, Peter and some of the other characters constantly make fun of Robot Chicken during the Star Wars parodies, and it's like, yeah, but theirs are better than yours. So they legitimately are funnier and better. Spaceballs, way better Star Wars parody. Blind Brian and Beef Wellington in there. Monkey flip and drop kick out of the ring. Drop kick by Pillman. Oh! Diving shoulder tackle by Wellington.
Well, Pillman went to the well once too often. He thought he could get away with it a third time. Wellington caught him with his own clothesline, coming back into the ring. Beautiful snap suplex right there. And as we all know, Lion Brian has had a history of some minor back trouble, and that's not going to help him.
How's it like being on a big channel for 30 seconds? Yeah, exactly. Prepare to fast forward. Prepare to fast forward. Fast forward. Fast forwarding, sir. What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie? Now, sir. You're looking at now. Everything that happens now is happening now. Go back to then. When? Now. We can't. Why? We missed it. When? Just now. When will then be now? Soon.
And we'll add it again. There are no pads outside this ring.
No. Go past this part. Past this part. In fact, never play this again. Are you less annoyed by Stan Smith? I'll be honest, I haven't watched American Dad in like a decade, and I'm amazed that the show is still going. I'm like, who the fuck is still watching American Dad? Like, it just amazes me that the show still exists. But I haven't watched it in a long time.
And a shot by Benoit. And another on Liger.
Ooh, big clothesline by Benoit.
Clothesline by Benoit, Jushin Liger, and Liger in trouble.
And the football block, the pace is quickening here.
Oh, it's a Guri by Benoit.
Roundhouse karate kick there. And Benoit has gained the offensive advantage here on his nemesis from Japan.
One of my exes loved American Dad and got so mad at me when I told her I never watched it. Really? That's interesting. I watch American Dad. I mean, somebody's watching it, clearly. I just don't. I personally, in my life, I don't know another human being that watches it. So it's surprising to me that, you know, it's funny because it's on TNT, correct? If I'm not mistaken. I'm not even 100%. Oh, missed the plancha there. But yeah, one of the things that makes me laugh, when I go to the movies, they always have previews for all these TNT shows, and I'm like, I don't know another person that watches any of these shows. Who is watching TNT? Who is watching these shows? Hey, I had a woman dump me. She literally, we went on one date, and she said she decided to break it off because I don't watch Doctor Who. That was, it was almost like, how will we raise the children type of situation. I was like, what? I was just so perplexed by it. It's not that I don't like Doctor Who, it's just that I've never watched it. American Dad is still on Fox. Okay. Oh, but no DQ? No? Okay. Benoit wearing the Pegasus on his tights. Reference to earlier in his career when he was the Wild Pegasus, or the Pegasus Kid. What was Benoit going for there? Brian's got him. Big back suplex off the top. Here comes Brian. Big drop kick. Missile drop kick. Benoit goes out of the ring. Now Brian's going to fly. No. Oh, look at that. There you go. What went wrong? Joe versus Angle and TNA. I mean, the rushed buildup. That's what went wrong. Oh, they're just smacking the shit out of each other right now.
And they are exchanging right hands outside the ring. They better be aware of the referee's count.
Both teams would be eliminated if a double count out occurred. Tag made. Benoit tagging in Wellington. As we mentioned, Wellington, the Western Canadian champion.
Here comes Liger.
Jushin Liger. Irish went far side. And nobody there.
You have such a good memory. How do you remember all these quotes and what happens in movies? I don't know. It comes natural to me. Oh, look at Liger flying.
Crossbody off the top turnbuckle to the concrete.
And Liger makes it back.
Do you have any way of recording stuff you've been to? No, I don't. One thing I wish I had done, I wish I'd saved like all my tickets to all the movies and wrestling shows and sporting events I've ever been to. I wish I'd kept like my physical tickets and kept them in a book or something.
Remember, singles elimination.
But I never thought to do that.
He tried to take him down, but that was a good counter by Wellington.
Big,
Going for the silver. He hooks the leg.
big slam by Wellington there.
An excellent counter move by Wellington and a patented move by Jushin Thunder Liger. Apparently Wellington, watching the film, knowing Liger's move, dropped him flat on his back and hurt him. And here comes the tag, and Benoit back into the ring on Jushin Thunder Liger and a double team going out of the corner.
Benoit trained in Japan for 1 year before turning pro, so he knows the Japanese style very well. And as we mentioned, he and Liger feuded for quite some time. It's a historic IWGP Championship matches.
Shh, Jim, you're not supposed to reference stuff that they do outside of the company. Oh wait, this is WCW, not WWF. Oh, nice counter by Liger. Liger looks like he's really hurt though. Is he okay? Did he get not loopy?
Tremendous move.
No, I guess he's okay.
Got the part of Wellington. He got in there and made
Spinning heel kick by Liger.
a beautiful karate kick by Jushin Thunder Liger. Look at this move.
Acai moonsault by Liger. Tag to Pillman.
And I know we're beating it to death, Jim Ross, but the mats outside the ring have been removed. All that is happening on concrete floor.
I've seen Liger twice live. He's still pretty great. The suit is 1 or 2 sizes bigger now, though. Yeah. Oh, big kick to the face on Pillman. Nice sneaky shot there by Wellington.
I'll tell you, Wellington's a thinker in that ring because Pillman.
I'm going to one night only event in London next month for WWE. Should I be excited or not? I mean, you know, you're going to a live event. How bad can it be? Willing to the top. What the fuck was he thinking to do with that? Pillman ducked. Get the tag. Get the tag.
We got a race to see who can get to the corner first to get the front.
Liger gets the tag.
Here comes Liger.
He barely got him up on that suplex.
The referee should pay attention to the guys in the ring.
Okay, we got Pillman and Brian brawling outside the ring. We got Wellington and Liger inside.
The referee should not concern himself with the two combatants outside the ring. His job is the guys in the ring.
Oh! Liger cannot get Wellington up for some reason. Is Wellington like sandbagging him? Moonsault by Liger. 1, 2, 3. Pillman and Liger win it. That was a good match. Good match. A lot of good matches on this show. I'm enjoying this clash. Has a theme, you know, all the matches, even though they're all tag matches, all the matches have been different. Very enjoyable.
Here you see it here. Here's the moonsault outside the ring. Unbelievable. On the concrete floor. The most gutsy move I have ever seen in wrestling history right there. And there's the reverse moonsault off the rope, center of the ring. Liger hooking the leg, getting the 3 count, and a big victory for the former adversaries, now partners, Jushin Liger and Brian Pillman.
Fans, we're trying to have an update for you on this meeting with the NWA and WCW officials. It's going on right now, and we'll be back.
The Wrestling Hotline.
First round of the NWA World Tag Team Title on World Championship Wrestling's Clash of the Champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest on the Clash of the Champions. It is set for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing team number 1, representing the Dominican Republic at a total combined weight of 502 pounds.
The Headhunters. They don't look like Headhunters. They look like 2 generic mask guys. I mean, if you're gonna go call them the Headhunters, you think they'd go, you know, totally racist with it. No, the crooked logo is no longer a thing. They have fixed that finally. They look like they look like I can't say it. The Conquistadors, if their outfits were designed by those like aliens from Star Trek who are like half white, half black. Hiroshi Hase and Akira Nogami. Nogami, that's a interesting hairstyle there, man. It's not his real hair, but, you know, it looks cool. Have you seen Austin perform a stunner on Shane before? Yes, I remember that. Call me crazy, but he does it better than Austin himself. I'd have to go back and look at it. The crooked logo has been deleted. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the most famous Hiroshi for modern fans.
In this tournament, a team I'm really looking forward to seeing in action here. Nogami is another former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, avid golfer, and outstanding.
He's an avid golfer. That's an interesting part of his background.
And it will be Nogami starting out against, for the lack of imagination, we'll call this one Headhunter number 2.
You want to start with 2 rather than 1?
I think so.
Okay, 1's on the apron. Now you keep it straight, Ross, because I'll get confused.
Side headlock applied. And a good football block by number 2 here. Fans, we're still trying to sort out this mess. And indeed, it is a mess in the locker room area. Medical attendants have taken the Puerto Rican team from the arena. And they're meeting now. The team marked by the Headhunters, taking down the Nogami. And WCW and NWA officials are meeting now to try to come up with some sort of solution to this, because we know all you fans wanted to see the Steiners, the number 1 seed, in action here tonight.
Oh.
Great martial arts kick by Nogami.
Nogami.
I'll tell you what's
Looking a little like Muda here, a little bit.
You alluded to it before, the many different styles.
Did you hear Titus O'Neil walked out of Extreme Rules because Hogan was brought back? I'd heard he walked out on the meeting. I didn't know he walked out on the pay-per-view. I hadn't heard that. And who knows if even that was true. You know, at this point, it's just hearsay.
Agony of defeat. You got your shoes on. There ain't no agony in your feet. I can't smell them, Ross.
This is Headhunter number 1. We know nothing of the Headhunters. They did not want to communicate with Mr. Ventura or myself before we went on today.
I didn't try to communicate with him. There he got him. Oh, clothesline that got me right across
page out of Stunning Steve Austin's playbook and a stun gun.
It's interesting. The Headhunters taking an early advantage here on the Japanese team.
Backbreaker applied by the big man from the Dominican Republic. Lateral press.
He also liked 2 negative comments about Hogan's return on his Instagram page. Well, you know.
Another spinning martial arts kick. And Nogami with a karate thrust to the neck. Tag made. Here comes the senior member of the team, Hiroshi Hase,
There we go.
who's a phenomenal wrestler. As I said, a member of the 88 Japanese Olympic team, competed in Greco-Roman wrestling.
Takashi's going to rough it up a little bit now, and you see the Japanese team now cutting off the ring and taking control over the Headhunters from the Dominican Republic.
The winner of this match will meet the Fabulous Freebirds on July the 12th.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. They haven't really shown us the brackets yet, which is interesting. We haven't gotten a good look at the brackets. You'd think they'd show that off.
As they are their hands. Scoops him up into a slam.
Jumping splash.
Right off the top. And now Hase.
Hase, what's he going to do?
On top.
Oh! Came down on his knees. That couldn't have felt good.
Knees into the canvas.
Superhero landing.
Is that Headhunter 1 or 2?
That's number 1.
Are you sure, Ross? I think it's 2.
Are you surprised WWE didn't capitalize on Sister Abigail like they did with Kane being Taker's brother? I think there's a lot of things with Bray's character that they never understood. Like, they never had a complete understanding of what it was, and that's why Bray was always written so poorly. Aside from having to be fed to The Undertaker and fed to Cena and all that other stupid shit.
Going for a double suplex.
Sorry. Kick the camera. I'm still here. Still here. Can you all still see me and everything?
Rolling over on top. Lateral press again.
Did you watch this Clash live on TV when it happened? Yes, I did. I remember watching it right before Great American Bash 92.
I love it. The rules are stiffening here at WCW.
Why does it say Great American Bash 92 Part 1? Where's Part 2? Part 2 is basically the pay-per-view. This is basically Part 1 of the pay-per-view because it's the opening round of the tournament. And then you get the rest of the tournament at the pay-per-view. So that's why I titled it that way.
These teams seem to be taking over, Jess, the number 2 seed.
They absolutely seem to be.
How is Sanity being treated on SmackDown? I haven't watched SmackDown.
They haven't shown me enough to be the number 2 seed.
Illegal headhunter in the ring. Referee Mike Atkins got to put a couple of guys out of here. Coming back, German suplex. A pair of German suplexes. And then
2 German suplexes, they get the win. That's probably the weakest match so far, but, you know, fairly quick.
So July 12th on pay-per-view from Albany, Georgia Civic Center, it will be Hase and Nogami, the number 2 seed, advancing to the quarterfinals to take on the U.S. Tag Champions, the Freebirds.
And here you see the replay right here.
They've been on TV for about a month and have won 1 match. 1 out of how many? Have they only had 1 match or have they had like 5?
Into the bridge, getting both Headhunters down, and a double 3 count, a double win for the Japanese team.
And we'll have more on this Puerto Rican situation. And Jesse Ventura will talk to Ron Simmons next.
U.S. Tag Team Title Showdown, WCW main event this Sunday, 6:05. Yeah, TBS was always weird like that. Their start times were always like 6:05 and 6:35.
Athletes that maybe start in football or whatever. And my guest at this time is a former All-American football player, certainly an All-American wrestler.
Jesse, what's up with the rat tail in the back of your head there? It's okay to shave your whole head, buddy.
Ron Simmons makes his way to the ring up against
There's Ron.
exciting WCW action.
Damn, it's Ron Simmons.
Saturday in Milwaukee at Mecca. This Sunday in Chicago, the UIC Pavilion. Another big national TV taping back in Atlanta at Center Stage on Monday, June 29th. Back up to Jim.
Ron Simmons, you had a great career at Florida State with Coach Bobby Bowden. Now you're in World Championship Wrestling, and you made a statement to me a while back that you have a goal that you've set out for yourself, and that is one to become the first Black World Champion in WCW history.
That's right, Jesse. You know, ever since Ron Simmons has been on this earth, people have put the odds against me. They said when I was raising myself on the streets that I wouldn't live to be 20. They said when I went down to Florida State as a 219-pound freshman that I wouldn't be no match for 310-pound nose center. Well, here I am, and I made 3 times All-American, high school trophy candidate. And in this sport, I plan to go where no black man has gone before, and that's sprint to the top and become the first man to wear that belt.
He would accomplish that goal. He would ultimately win the WCW World Title from Big Van Vader.
Your great college background. I can appreciate them. Wait a minute. We got the 7-time World Heavyweight Champion here, Mr. Harley Race, along with the Super Invader.
The Super Invader, for those of you who don't know, that is actually Hercules Hernandez under the mask.
Running his mouth about Harley Race and Big Van Vader.
I told that motherfucker.
Ron Simmons, you're a friend of the...
All right, Victory Rose, thanks for joining the stream. Have fun. Is Ron Simmons Farouk? Yes. Yes, he is.
Be an errand boy and run me back a message to Sting.
Well, let me tell you something. You got your year wrong, and you got my name wrong. This is the year almost 2000. This ain't the 18th century, and my name ain't Gopher. And if you won't Sting, you go get him yourself.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Simmons. 7 different times I was World Heavyweight Champion, and I had a boy like you carrying my bag.
Oh, shit.
That was too insulting. What a distasteful remark. Red Simmons has got to fight them both. The Super Invader.
The Super Invader. That is such a silly name.
With that left hand. They're both double teaming Simmons. Then Simmons kicks Race in the midsection. Oh, what an elbow. And a clothesline.
Down goes Invader.
Fight them both. The ball tackle.
And down goes Race. God, Ron Simmons be killing everybody. Did you know Kenny Omega at TM61 trained at camps Harley Race ran? I knew Omega did. I didn't know about TM61. Or I guess the Mighty, as they're calling themselves now. FT Legend, I have to go to work, but we'll probably still be in the chat because I'm allowed to use my phone. Okay, man. That's cool.
The interview is over. Wow, Jim Ross. Ron Simmons running both the Super Invader and the 7-time champion right out of the ring.
Van Tony Giovanni top to Bill Watts. Next.
There's that poster book again. I'm looking at that. I kind of want that. Kind of want it.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Clash of the Champions. Let's try to get to the bottom of the situation. Tony Schiavone standing by with Bill Watts.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim Ross. Yes, there's been a lot of confusion tonight here on the Clash of the Champions, centering on the Puerto Rican team. I know we've had meetings in the back with NWA officials and WCW officials, Bill.
Well, Tony, it looks like there's more or less a jurisdictional dispute because this is a NWA Tag Team Tournament.
Should Cody's WWE run be a what went wrong? Maybe. I mean, goddamn, they botched that horribly.
The NWA president's going to resign because his philosophy and my philosophy differs a little bit.
I know I said WCW got rid of the crooked logo, but look at Tony Schiavone's microphone right now. The microphone looks crooked.
Everything they paid for.
Looks weird.
And when you have an opportunity to get more than you paid for, that's even better. And what's happened, we're not to the bottom of what's happened to the Puerto Rican team. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out who caused the car wreck, whether or not there was even a car involved. The bottom line is this, that the NWA said that we'd have to wait until the Great American Bash to see the second round
of this tag team.
This stream is going to get me through work. When do you finish? Well, when Saturday night's main event wraps up, we'll be done.
And I went to Doc and Gordy. And I said,
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, Howard Finkel. Yeah, he's in pretty bad health. I've heard. That's a shame, because Howard's best ring announcer in the history of the business. But
both of them said, let's hook it up. So tonight, right here and now, we're going to start round two. Round two starts tonight of the NWA Tag Team Title. We're going to hook it up. All right, that's from Bill Watts. Look at that. On the clock of the check.
round 2 starts tonight. Cool beans.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest. It is the first match in the second round of the NWA Tag Team Tournament. Introducing team number 1. At a total combined weight of 540 pounds, now residing in Nagoya, Japan. First, Dr. Death, Steve Williams. His tag team partner.
Is this your favorite wrestling tournament? No. I mean, I'm not sure what my favorite tournament is. This wouldn't be up there though. It's enjoyable, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite tournament.
July 1st in Macon, Georgia. July 3rd, Chattanooga, Tennessee. July 4th in Baltimore, the arena. And the big one, Georgia Power Safety Night in the Omni in Atlanta on Sunday, July 5th. And what a matchup this is going to be. Becca, the Gary, Michael.
Now here we go. We're getting the Steiners.
From Detroit, Michigan. Total combined weight, 525 pounds. They are
Rick and Scott, the Steiner Brothers.
the Steiner
Killer.
Well, the Steiner Brothers have got their game face on. No doubt about it. And what a bonus. What a ruling by Cowboy Bill Watts. We did not have to wait until July 12th. And quite frankly, I don't care if the NWA president resigns or not. I wanted to see this one all along.
Absolutely. Let the guy resign. Who cares whether he's working or not on the NWA?
First King in the Ring was a really good one.
Right now. Williams and Gordy against the Steiner Brothers.
Oh, I know Vince doesn't like tournaments. That's the thing. He does not like tournaments. And I mean, they're complicated to do because there's a lot of components, a lot of moving parts. But if you do it well, I mean, it can tell compelling stories and be really exciting.
Starting this match off. Very unusual, Jim Ross.
Big brother Rick Steiner knows the consequences of this one. It's sudden death. It's single elimination. Attempted single leg by Terry Bam Bam Gordy. But Steiner able to pull away into the ropes, and we have a clean break. And the dog face not smiling, not with that very kid-like grin. He is all business. What a matchup. There's so much speculation about what it will be like when these two teams met here at this tournament.
What production point of the Attitude Era do you miss? I miss the theme music for Monday Night Raw. Like the theme, that was the Raw theme to me. Like that old old school theme, and they've never really quite been able to recapture it with all the new themes they've done over the years. Come on, Rick. Rick takes down Terry.
You know, they needed maybe to expand this ring about 4 feet for these teams.
We're all together now. Yeah, that's the song. That's the song. And they used like an instrumental from that song for all like the commercial breaks, like the bumper themes when they would go to commercial, and that always sounded great. And I kind of miss that. Go to commercial.
And that's the tougher difference between amateur wrestling and pro wrestling. Right there, you saw Gordy have the leg hook, couldn't get him down. He popped him with a forearm. That would not be allowed in any amateur wrestling match. But here in the pros, totally legal.
Tag to Scott. Suplex him, Scott.
right there with that belly suplex. But Gordy able to block.
See Gordy reaching down with that left hand. Now he's trying to get his arm inside Steiner's arm, and he's got it. Whoa.
Oh, nice flip over by Gordy. Scotty's trying to bridge up, but they can't quite get it. No, they can't do it. No, give up on the spot, guys. You're not doing it.
Trying to make his way momentarily anyway to the ropes. Scotty again.
Stop. Oh, they got the bridge up. No, they can't get. Stop doing the bridge up spot, guys.
Excellent power moves, good combinations, and blocked by both teams.
Oh, big suplex by Scott. That saved that little moment of awkwardness.
Williams, a four-time wrestling All-American from the University of Oklahoma, Scott Steiner, outstanding competitor for the University of Michigan.
A natural rivalry here, the Big Ten against the Big Eight.
Does TNA invading WWE appeal to you? Not really. They kind of are. If you look at their roster, it's like AJ's there, Joe's there, Rude's there, Eric Young is there, you know.
Jockeying for position here. Doc takes him down.
Doc with a takedown.
Upper body strength by Dr. Dave Williams, one of the strongest men in the sport. Back heel trip and a single leg by Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner the leg lays, trying to turn Doc over, and now behind in the ride.
Move and counter move.
Look at Scott. Get himself all tangled around Dr. Death.
Actually has.
Speaking of Rudy's still a babyface. I'm like, sure. No, literally no one wants him as a babyface, but okay, sure, WWE, keep doing that. Keep doing you.
The game face of Dr. Death. Etched with determination. And their official here, Timber's beginning to flare. Doc was a little concerned that it took Scott a little longer than he wanted in the break. Thought it was a good break personally, but in any event, Dr. Death took exception with a referee.
As low as the Raw ratings are, they're still near the top of cable ratings on Monday nights. I mean, yeah.
These guys at one time were tag team partners. And he got him.
Oh, big suplex.
And he got him.
Dogface Gremlin just threw Dr. Death. Who? Is how WWE are using talent now, how they should have treated WCW guys. It's, you know, not everybody works, but they should definitely have given the WCW guys more of a chance rather than constantly cut their legs out from under them. I mean, DDP and Booker T had to eat so much shit when they first got there. It was like, and it was done to teach him a lesson. And Jericho, when he got there, they tried to humiliate him if Jericho's book is anything to go by. And it's like, guys, why are you doing this?
It's hard not to be emotional when the stakes are this high. No doubt about that.
Yeah, with the rise of Netflix and Hulu and other streaming services, it's like, you know, cable TV is kind of becoming a dinosaur. So, I mean, we'll probably get to a point where, you know, streaming will take over entirely and cable TV will be a thing of the past. Who knows? I mean, you even see channels like CBS are experimenting with streaming services now, and HBO is doing a streaming service now. So it's becoming more and more of a common thing.
Good takedown by Rick Steiner. Takes Doc down. And now he's behind him. Front face lock.
Trying to cross face it right there. Looking at driving that in. Driving the forearm in right there.
Doc back up vertical. Pushes now. Forces. Rick Steiner.
Oh, big slap by Dr. Death. Yeah, there's Rick. Yeah, beat the shit out of him. Oh, big clothesline by Dr. Death. Rick Steiner, like, damn.
And I don't think Rick Steiner has ever been
Oh. Bam Bam just hit Rick with a big shot there. Bam, bam.
Forward and back of the head. On the side of the head, rather. And another one. And Dollface cuts back to the right. And Gordon. Put his hands in the face. Trying to rake the eye.
Oh, big clothesline.
Excellent movement by Bam Bam Gordy. Irish whip into the turnbuckle. Followed it in with the quick clothesline. Trying to suplex.
Belly to belly by Rick. Tag to Scotty. Back body drop. Scotty Steiner is all in. Steiner line. Double underhook. Power bomb. Scott Steiner is fucking awesome. Frankensteiner, no. Bam Bam held onto the ropes. Half crab. Oh, into an STF. If 10-year-old Patrick could see you now, would he be happy how you turned out? Probably. Steiner's versus American Alpha. Ooh, yeah. Steiner's in their prime versus American Alpha at their height. Yeah. That'd be good.
With a major advantage there with the submission move. Took a lot out of Scott Steiner. Stag tags Dr. Death Steve Williams. And look at this double team move.
Oh!
Yeah, I like that one.
A gut buster.
Trey poor Scotty over his knee.
Working on the lower back. That seems to be their focus. They got to work on the back. Scott Steiner. Vicious kicks with a flannel foot by Dr. Death. And drops the elbow right in the spine. They're working on the kid's back. The youngster from Bay City, Michigan. Being punished here now by Dr. Death Steve Williams. The number 1 seed versus the number 4 seed. As the second round of the tournament starts. Look at the strength. Look at the strength. He's manhandling Scott Steiner on top. Lateral press and an air fall.
Very near fall right there. A little frustration by Dr. Death Steve Williams. He thought he had Scott Steiner spit in there. A block. A kick back by Steiner. Another one.
Scotty's fighting back. Nope.
Beautiful leg sweep right there.
Dr. Death.
Pulling Scott to the corner. And then makes a tag to Terry Bennett and Gordy. Gordy and Williams now with the advantage, and they're punishing Scott Steiner. Gordy's got him up on his shoulder.
Big power slam by Bam Bam.
And he drove his shoulder right into the abdomen during the slam.
Steiner versus Mil Mascaras in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Tornado rules. Jesus Christ. That'd be crazy.
Twisting that leg, turning the knee. They're working on the knee right now on Scott Steiner.
And the key here is Scott Steiner's been in the ring far too long. Bam Bam Gordy and Dr. Death.
Come on, Scott. Get the tag.
Scott Steiner in the ring far too long. If he doesn't tag his brother Rick, pretty soon this one's going to be all over but the shout.
Scott trying to crawl his way to the corner. He knows the predicament he's in. He must make the tag. But can he? Can he reach his brother? Gordy, able to pull Scott from the corner back toward the center of the ring and tags in Dr. Death. And Gordy stopping Scott from making the tag. Williams, the legal man in. Double team.
Oh! Double tackle by the heels.
Rick Steiner in the ring. He's illegal. The referee.
Mil Mascaras versus Minoru Suzuki. Yeah, that'd be funny. It'd be comical.
By Williams and Gordy. And Scott Steiner is being battered at this point in time in the contest. They're working on his leg. And that has been their focus for the last few moments.
Oh, big kick by Scott.
And Scott Steiner pulled it out from somewhere, leaped into the air, and kicked the heel of his boot right into the eye of Dr.
He kicked the heel all right.
Scotty's got to make the tag.
Cha. Come on, Scotty. Get the tag. Get the tag.
His brother's there. His hand is out.
The race is on.
Got it.
He did it.
He did it.
Here comes Rick.
Rick Steiner, the legal man.
Clothesline.
Gordy
Rick Steiner beating the crap out of Gordy. Oh, Dr. Death gets back in there. What went wrong? Bailey on the main roster. Shitty writing. That's what went wrong. Oh, power slam by Rick. Oh, Dr. Death isn't the legal man. Great officiating. He kept track. Good job.
Both teams outside the ring. Now you got the discretion of the referee. Does he want a double count out? Here comes Dr. Death. Steve Williams.
Dr. Death just clipped Steiner or Scott Steiner in the leg. Whatever happened to Dr. Death after the Brawl for All? He meandered around for a bit and did nothing, basically. I remember they paired him up with Jim Ross when they tried to turn Jim Ross heel, but nobody was having it. Like, why is Jim Ross a heel? We all love JR. And so when that didn't pan out, it was like Dr. Death was gone, like, not long after that.
The Steiner Brothers facing the most fierce competition I have ever seen them have. Scott Steiner definitely hurt. The knee is hurt. Bam Bam Gordy exchanging with Rick Steiner. Referee must get some type of control. It's out of hand right now.
Dr. Death.
Gorilla press. Oh, into a power slam. 1, 2. Oh, Scott kicked out. What's a moment in wrestling that you just couldn't suspend your disbelief for? One example that comes to mind is John Cena's like 5 moves of doom, because it's like the heels have to fall for the same trap every single time. It's like, wait, so they always throw the clothesline, Cena always ducks it, and it just looks so like mechanical. Oh, clip of the leg. 1, 2, 3. Dr. Death and Terry Gordy win and will advance into the tournament. That was a really good match. A lot of really good matches on this one. This was an enjoyable clash. Again, it could have easily been a mess because it's all tag matches, but it was all. I thought all the matches were different. I thought the matches were good, fun. It was just a really enjoyable show. Oh my God. Mania 16, yeah, that show was a train wreck. Just an overbloated mess.
An illegal flip right there. Took the knee out on Scott Steiner. Dr. Death lands on top. Steiner in obvious pain. Dr. Death gets the cover right there. Referee dives. He did 1, 2, and 3. The first time I've ever seen the Steiner Brothers beat.
Let's go back to Tony and Magnum very quick.
Okay, there are the brackets. Are we going to get like a good look at them? Because they have the whole setup kind of like at Mania 4, but it's kind of like we're not getting like a good look at the full brackets.
You suspect surprises, you suspect upsets in a tournament of this magnitude, but what we didn't expect was to see the opening round of the quarterfinals right here tonight, much less see the Steiners upset in the hands of Doc and Gordy. This has been unbelievable evening.
Okay, let's go back to ringside. Well, fans, as you can see, we are checking on the status of Scott Steiner. Obviously, his knee.
And now that's going to benefit Dr. Death and Terry Gordy at the Great American Bash because they've already had their first match of the second round. So that's one less match for them to worry about.
Cheap shot if you want to. Terry Bam Bam Gordy coming in with a clip, but he got away with it. Dr. Death getting the pinfall. First time I've ever seen the Steiner Brothers defeated.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk more about this Saturday morning on the Power Hour. For Tony Schiavone, Magnum TA, Eric Bischoff, Missy Hyatt, Gary Capetta, Jesse Lavani Ventura. I'm Jim Ross saying so long from Charleston, South Carolina.
All right, that concludes the Great American Bash, number 19. Yeah, really enjoyable. Very good show. I really like that. So if you're into tag team tournaments and you love tag team wrestling, this is a good episode to check out, I would think. But it's really largely, in the grand scheme of things, it's really just a big setup for Great American Bash 1992. That's largely the appeal here, specifically since the Great American Bash 92. All that show had was the tag tournament and Sting versus Vader. That was virtually the whole show. So everybody enjoy that. I'll have fun watching the Clash of the Champions. Okay, guys, I'm going to take a quick break to eat something real quick, go to the bathroom, do all that other fun stuff. I will be right back, so don't go away. And when I come back, we'll conclude with Saturday night's main event, number 20. So, yeah, stay tuned for more. Hello, everybody. I'm back. Got my lunch. Let's hear your impression of Attitude Era Rock. I don't know if I can do that convincingly. But The Rock says it's time for you to shut your mouth and listen to what the champ has to say, whilst I lay the smackdown on your Rudy Poo candy ass. If you smell what The Rock is cooking. Not the best impression, but, you know. You know. I'm no Bruce Pritchard. Is the original Gojira available on DVD? Yes, it is. And actually, the Japanese version, the original version, is more widely available than the American version nowadays, which was not the case when I was a kid. Okay, who's ready for some Saturday night's main event? Okay, we're going to go into, once again, if you're following along in the network, we're going to go into shows, Vault, Saturday night's main event, and then we're going to 1989. I'll give you a few minutes to get there. Of the movies I've seen, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah 91 is my favorite. It's one of mine too. It's wacky as hell, but I think that's the movie that made Ghidorah Godzilla's arch nemesis. Granted, I mean, he'd fought him many times before, starting with the original Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, and he was kind of the big bad, but I felt like that movie really put the rivalry over the top and made it like, okay, like Ghidorah is Godzilla's arch nemesis. Did Raw come about because Saturday night's main event was canceled by NBC and Fox? I don't think so. I don't think that was a factor into it. I think that was just Vince's just wanted to spice things up on Monday nights because they already had the Monday night show. It was primetime wrestling. And I think Raw was like an innovation of that. Alrighty. Okay. So this episode of Saturday Night's Main Event, we're going to be on the March 89 episode. For this episode, it's the last one before WrestleMania 5. The Mega Powers had split. For those of you who remember when I did the live stream of all the episodes of the main event, that classic episode, the Mega Powers have split. Hogan's going to be facing Randy Savage at WrestleMania for the title. And here, this episode has a big storyline component where Miss Elizabeth has to make her big decision. Whose corner is she going to be in at WrestleMania? So this is a big point in the storyline, actually. One that kind of gets glossed over, but Miss Elizabeth's loyalties was a big factor in this storyline. Is that song you played your favorite classic Godzilla song? It's up there. All of it, Akira Ifukube's music was great. But anyway, let's get started. Saturday night's main event, March 1989. Saturday, March 11th, 1989. Hulk Hogan takes on Bad News Brown. Brutus the Barber Beefcake battles Ravishing Rick Rude. And the Brainbusters face the Rockers. Ooh, this is going to be a fun episode. Why is it not going? There you go. I forgot to wait a minute. I forgot to do my countdown. Sorry. For those of you following along. We'll start over. Okay. Countdown. Get to the watch now button. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Don't want to leave it. Those of you following along on the network, don't want to leave them hanging.
She must choose between the Hulkster and the Macho Man once and for all. And it used to be different. Elizabeth held the Mega Powers together. The madness and the mania, like that growing glycerin.
Yeah, Miss Elizabeth's she's gonna be kind of the star of this episode. Unprovoked? Macho was pissed. Brainbusters versus Rockers is the 1989 version of Revival versus Young Bucks. Ooh, good comparison. The decision of a lifetime. Macho was justified in everything he did during this feud. I don't know about throwing Miss Elizabeth halfway across the room, but I could understand why he would be mad. Let's put it that way. Ooh, I like the title card there. Savage putting his finger in Hogan's face.
McMahon, I'm here to cover wrestling, not women. And the man I want to see tonight is Bad News Brown, the toughest street fighter in the entire world wrestling federation.
Would you say Macho Man's theme song is the most recognizable wrestler's theme? It's up there. I mean, Pomps and Circumstance, a lot of people associate that with Macho. The $1 million belt for the first time on TV. I didn't know that was on here. This episode's already awesome. Yeah, I'm about to be gross here, guys. I'm going to drink from the cereal bowl. It's so funny to watch people like Jesse just totally fuck with Vince while on screen. When nowadays, like, nobody fucks with Vince.
What's the long-range plan? My long-range plans, Pee-wee, are none of your business. I'll let you know my short-term plan just a little. And that is to get rid of Brutus the Barber Beefcake. See, he's been going through the World Wrestling Federation, cutting a lot of people's hair, making a lot of people with real shaft. You know about lousy-looking haircuts. And the last thing this gentleman wants here is to be in the ring with anybody with a lousy-looking haircut or a poor appearance. So we're just going to get rid of Brutus the Barber Beefcake. You see, because the image of this man and professional wrestling is very important to us.
All right, that's all well and good, Bobby the Brain Heenan, but what about Brutus the Barber Beefcake? He has been looking very sharp in the ring. Pardon the pun. And what about his formidable sleeper hold? What about that?
Ravishing Rick, what would happen if he even tried to apply that sleeper hold on the Ravishing one?
A rude awakening.
Please, gentlemen. Vince, I don't know, Bobby Heenan.
Okay, now I'm gonna get mad again because we're gonna get that shitty version of Rick Rude's theme.
All right, Mr. President,
What happened to the sound?
The presence of Bobby the Brain and Ravishing Rick Rude. And Bobby the Brain is loyalty certainly Jesse torn tonight between the three.
What happened to the audio?
Involved in.
Now, why would you say that his loyalties would be torn between the three if there's one man that can handle 3 matches on Saturday night's main event?
It's really weird. Okay, so I can hear Rick Rude's original theme, but the announcer's audio is like overpowering it to such a comical degree. So I don't know if that's like, I don't know what that is.
Negative attitude, McMahon. I mean, you literally pick everybody to beat Heathen's people.
Standing by right now, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who last time on Saturday's main event gave us a whale of a haircut.
The Barber Beefcake, Bobby Heenan, has promised to rid the World Wrestling Federation of not
Yeah, the sucky version, I can't deal with that. It's just.
I say, Bobby Heenan, it's like a hair dryer. You turn him on, he's all hot air. I'm the official barber of the World Wrestling Federation. No matter what the weasel says, I'm here to stay.
Now, Ravishing Rick Rude says you're making both him and his beautiful body look bad.
Never bad. He has no body.
Now, wait a minute. Rick Rude clearly has a sensational body.
Not that body. His hair has no body. And I'm gonna give him some.
How do you do that?
Simple. First, you start cutting.
Yeah, it sounded like Vince and Ventura were talking through walkie-talkies or something. It sounded really weird.
His hair was all body.
Yes, and not much else. But Brutus, what comes after the cutting?
The strutting. Cutting and strutting. Cutting and strutting.
Vince, this man certainly is intent on fulfilling his position as the official barber of the World Wrestling Federation. Now, will that position be permanent, or will Bobby Heenan and Rick Rude see that it's a washout? Back to you.
Oh yeah, Mean Gene, with a haircut like yours, you're a fine one to make jokes about.
I will say this, Brutus Beefcake's theme, pretty awesome. Even though I still think the character's an asshole. It's like, oh, I'm gonna beat guys and then cut their hair against their will. That's a heel gimmick, I would think, but
Oh, you can imagine what's in the bag right there.
Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake.
Now, why should he be allowed to carry those in the ring? It's still the intimidation factor. It's an illegal foreign.
I'm so curious if those like big clippers he used, if they were like legitimately sharp, or if it was. I hope not, because like I said last week, it's like all it takes is one fan to reach out and disaster happens. Do you think it's harder to write a wrestling show, a TV show, or a movie? Well, what makes a wrestling show harder is that they have no off season. They have to write, they have to constantly be writing and planning like 6 months ahead and be prepared if something goes wrong. Whereas a movie and a television show, you get pretty much all the problems are pretty much settled in pre-production, and then you're able to pretty much get what you want out of. Those were working clippers from Clippers R Us. Oh yeah, Rude's wearing Ultimate Warrior on his tights, hyping up their feud for Mania 5. Their big Intercontinental title match. Back body drop. Oh, sleeper hold. Rude is in trouble. Into the corner. Got out of the hold though. What's your predicted card for TakeOver Brooklyn 4? Black versus Gargano versus Ciampa for the title in a 3-way. Regardless of how next week's match turns out, no, I haven't read the spoilers. It'll probably be the three of them in a 3-way. Ricochet versus, because you gotta get Ricochet on the card. I'm thinking like Velveteen Dream's got to be on the card. We're probably gonna get Undisputed Era versus War Raiders for the tag titles. We're definitely getting Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane for the women's title. Oh, Rick Rude back in control. Oh, knee to the gut. Then we'll probably get like Ricochet versus EC3 maybe. And God, where does that leave Velveteen Dream? Because you think he's got to be on there. Rude beating down the Baba, Beefcake Baba. Oh, there you go. Ricochet versus Adam Cole for the US title, the UK title, the North American title. Sorry. I wonder if they're going to do Pete Dunne versus Roddy for the UK title at some point. EC3 versus Velveteen, that'd be interesting.
He goes in and bears down on him, and he's going to make Beefcake hold his weight, this reverse chin lock. And certainly, liking what he sees at the moment. This is a rare hold right here, McMahon, for somebody like you who's never been in the ring and has no knowledge. I say.
Beefcake Bob breaks out. The bar the elephant. There's Andre the Giant. Oh, jawbreaker by Beefcake. What UK title? Fair point. Beefcake inverted atomic drop. That's a see. How's that move legal? That's basically a low blow. Any predictions for Slammiversary tonight? I did a video about it last week, but I'd say I think Aries is going to retain the title with maybe like a 35% chance that Moose might win it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Moose won, but I'm picking Aries to win it, to retain. Pentagon beats Sammy. Oh, Andre sitting on Beefcake. That can't be fun. Eddie Edwards beats Tommy. Hernandez and Homicide beat LAX. Oh, there's Jake. You know what he's got with him. Andre getting the fuck out of Dodge. Now Rick Rude going after his old rival, Jake Roberts. They had a Saturday night's main event match. What's the DQ for? Is ref just throwing this out? He must have. Did he see Andre beating up on Brutus? Oh, poor Jake. Since Roman's first choice was football before WWE, do you think he'll join the XFL? Yeah, he'll be the star player in whatever team he's on, I'm sure. Up there's Beefcake. He can help Jake. Notice he wouldn't go after Andre though. Yeah, Brutus can't get Andre off of Jake. Yeah, no. Not going to work, buddy. Headbutt. Brutus goes down. Now, Andre's just like bored with Jake. He's like, fuck this. I'm just going to beat the shit out of the barber. Big John Studd. This is a bit of a flashback, isn't it? God, Studd looks huge. Now Jake's getting the snake. The referee looks scared shitless. Andre getting the fuck out of Dodge. The 1989 Royal Rumble winner, Big John Studd. Beefcake wins by DQ. Not sure how that happened. I'm just going to assume the referee saw Andre beating him up, because that's the only way that makes sense. But that was bonkers. That was some good, like, crazy bonkers shit.
Maybe the Macho Man will speak up for her, but the hoster will. After tonight, Bad News Brown will be yesterday's news. Read all about it.
We are moments away from the matchup between the Hulkster and Bad News Brown.
Bad News Brown against Hulk Hogan. This is an interesting pairing. Now, Bad News Brown. Bad News Brown is a guy that, if this guy had been around in the Attitude Era, he would have been main eventing against Steve Austin. It would have been great. Unfortunately, by this point, he was a little older and kind of past the physical prime of his career, but great character. And one of the things I loved about Brown was that he was a heel that had no friends. He wasn't a guy that was like, "Oh, you're a heel? Well, we're friends. We're friends because we're all heels." And, you know, that invisible line between faces and heels that I'm not a fan of. Bad News Brown hated everybody, and he walked out on his Survivor Series teams a couple of times. He was an awesome character. He was the precursor to Stone Cold Steve Austin in a lot of ways. Just kind of this badass that's like, I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm just going to be me, and I don't trust anybody.
Nobody, especially somebody with a woman in their corner, is going to get between me and that championship belt.
There you go. You know, his promos were good and everything. I like Bad News Brown as a character. It's just, like I said, he was a little older and he was past his physical prime, unfortunately. But, yeah, he did have a program with Randy Savage in very late 88, early 99. And they had some really good, intense fights that were really well done. So it wasn't like he was incapable. And here he is. He's working with Hogan on a Saturday Night's Main Event. So let's see how this match turns out. Yeah, I've heard he was tough to work with as well. I've heard that too. This is a shame. There's an Attitude Era main eventer in that guy. But he was a little ahead of its time. Oh, Miss Elizabeth is going to be in Hogan's corner for this match. Okay.
Shut up, Gene.
Ooh.
Don't repeat those filthy lies Bad News Brown said about Miss Elizabeth. Can't you see she's heard enough in the Macho Man?
Does Hogan have laryngitis or something? He sounds like he's losing his voice.
6 feet under was the way you, Macho Man, put Elizabeth between you and I, destroyed the Mega Power team. That's what
89, like 88 and 89. Did I say 99? Because I meant 89. Is around this time Savage was still working with Brown despite Savage being a heel. Yeah, I've heard about that. But it makes sense because they had already signed those matches and then, you know, did the turn on TV. So it's not like you can, it's like, what, you cancel the match because they're both heels now? That wouldn't make sense. Hulk, what's wrong with your voice, man? Yeah, he probably did a lot of pre-tapes.
Thank you. First things first, on to Bad News Brown.
See, and this is part of where, like, Savage is a little justified. It's like, why is Elizabeth in his corner for this match? Drugs, that's what's wrong. Yeah, drugs. Do you prefer promos pre-taped or in front of a live crowd? Either or, great promos are great promo. Lust in your eyes, Hogan. You got lust in your eyes. Bad News Brown. Lost Hogan. That reminded me of like some of the exchanges that Monsoon and Ventura had during the WrestleMania 5 match. You know, Ventura called the fans puke-a-maniacs. The best exchange where he called Hulk Hogan a chump, and Monsoon was like, he's the champ, the former champ. Because I think he screwed up. And then Ventura, not missing a beat, was like, that's what a former champ is, a chump. EC3PO? I mean, that'd be kind of neat. Meltzer told a story about how he was at a show main evented by Savage versus Bad News. During the match, Savage played face, but after the match was over, he turned back to heel. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, missed the elbow. Bad News missed the elbow again. Hogan's back up. Bad News goes out of the ring. Hogan slingshots Bad News into the ring. Reverse the clothesline, and oh! Hogan sends him down. Oh, big clothesline. Bad News goes down. Elbow. Elbow number 2. Big boot by Hogan. Oh, Bad News, no selling. Getting rammed into the turnbuckle. Oh, boot to the face. Back suplex by Hogan. No, atomic drop. And up and over, Brown goes out. Is it just me, or are these shows not as front-loaded as they used to be? Oh, they still are. I mean, the big attractions typically come, you know, within the first 2 matches. Oh! Bad News goes right into the security railing. Oh, Hogan goes into the ring post. Oh! Bad News went to punch him, and Hogan ducked, and Bad News punched the ring post. Shit. And that looked like a good shot, too. Chair shot? No, Hogan blocks it. That should have been a DQ on Hogan. Well, Bad News was trying to hit him, so I guess you could say Hogan was defending himself, but now he's headbutting the chair. Jesus. Bad News is awesome. What's Brown looking for? What the hell is Brown looking for? I take it we're going to commercial here. Hogan stopping the count. It's like, yeah, let him bring a weapon. What is that? Is that a snow shovel? That's an interesting place to go to commercial. How would Andre the Giant versus Suzuki go? Oh, God. Andre would throw him around and Suzuki would get in a bunch of stiff shots. Hogan gets the snow shovel away from him. Have you seen footage of Hogan wearing the Hulk Hogan war bonnet? I have. That thing. Oh, big clothesline by Brown. That thing is one of the stupidest looking pieces of merchandise I've ever seen in my entire life. That thing, I mean, my God, that thing looks terrible. The war bonnet, it was let me see if I can find a picture of it. Oh, big slam by Brown. Okay, we're going to get a slight change. Hogan kicks out. Ooh. Oh, now he's chasing Elizabeth. God, Bad News Brown is so awesome. Okay, in the chat, I just posted a picture of Hogan with the war bonnet. Into the ring post again. This is a fucking fight. I like this. Victor Rose, welcome back. Russian leg sweep by Bad News. 1, 2. No, Hogan's leg is out. Yep. We're going to try and follow at least some of the rules. Elbow by Bad News. This is a really good match. This is like one of the better Hogan Saturday Night's main event matches that doesn't get talked about. Like, everyone talks about the cage match with Orndorff, the match with Harley Race. Some people bring up the match with Terry Funk. This one is one of the better ones. Down goes Hogan. This is just wild. I like this. And now he's got the microphone. What's he doing now? Oh my God. Ghetto Blaster. Hogan ducked. Maybe you shouldn't have announced that you were doing the Ghetto Blaster. And for those of you that don't know, the Ghetto Blaster is his finisher, Bad News Brown. It was basically a jumping enziguri. Yeah, I would not have, like, even as a kid, I wouldn't have bought that thing. The war bonnet. That thing looked too stupid, even for me. Hogan's hulking up. In my mind, that's the noise that Hogan makes when he hulks up. Ducks the clothesline. Hogan! Oh, a jumping knee! Look at that! Drops the big leg! 1, 2, 3. That was a really good match. I think we just found a Saturday night's main event hidden gem. If you were making your own Godzilla movie, which monsters would you use as his opponents, if any? I wouldn't use Ghidorah, Mothra, or Mechagodzilla because they always come back and I'd be like, I want to do something different. Oh, now Miss Elizabeth, she's doing the pose down with Hogan. I kind of feel bad for Savage. There's a part of me I kind of feel bad for him. But anyway, I would pick, like, Biollante would be on my list. Hedra would be on my list. Destroyer would be on my list. Gigan and Garrus. The Gargantuas would definitely be one I would want to do. And I would also work Gorosaurus in there somehow because I'm a Gorosaurus mark, so... Oh yeah, he's not trying to steal Randy's woman, but look at this. I know, I kind of feel bad for Randy. Who's Gorosaurus? Gorosaurus is a blue Tyrannosaurus Rex that was first used in King Kong Escapes, and he has a fight scene with King Kong. He's also in Destroy All Monsters, where he teams up with Godzilla in the end fight against King Ghidorah. Oh my God, the Rockers logo. That is so friggin' 90s. And it's 89. It's the most 90s thing I've ever seen.
And think about whose corner she's going to be in Wrestlemania 5, then come back out to this capacity audience and make her decision public. Seems to me she's already made it. Look at the must out there.
In 2018, Savage would be the one cheered by the fans. Kinda, yeah. Oh, look, there's Randy. He's not happy. But in all fairness to Liz, Randy did throw her halfway across the room. The Gargantuas, they starred in their own movie, War of the Gargantuas, and they never crossed over into the Godzilla series, but they're very popular. Here it is, the $1 million title belt. I love that thing. That thing is fabulous. Natalia told a story once about her and her sisters having huge crushes on the Rockers. I mean, that's what they were designed for, so to get the girls to scream.
Who cares what that penny picture Tunney says? What's important is money, not Tunney. And this is worth a lot of money, little man. Virgil, shine that spot right there.
All right, what about your opponent tonight, the Blue Blazer? He is a shining star here in the World Wrestling Federation.
Does he shine more brightly in this gold or these diamonds, little man?
Well, no, $1 million man, no.
Then his star is about to fall, and I'll be there for the 3 count. Come on, Virgil.
Vince, I don't know if the $1 million man's long green is going to bankrupt the aerial antics of the Blue Blazer. We're going to find out shortly up in the ring. Back to you.
Wow, what do you think of that belt, Jesse? I'll tell you, McMahon, even I'm impressed. I am impressed with that. That is the most beautiful belt I have ever seen.
Yes, Owen Hart getting on an episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. Now, I don't collect replica championship belts, but if I were going to, there are 3 that I would consider getting. The Winged Eagle WWF World Title, the Big Gold Belt, the WCW title belt, and the $1 million championship belt. There's Owen.
It's an honor to be here, Meat Gene. Thank you very much. All right, you've got to make your match tonight against the ostentatious $1 million man, Ted DiBiase. This guy is so confident, he wears a $1 million belt with the gold of the jewels. What are your thoughts?
Well, Chief, that heavy belt is going to keep the $1 million man firmly on the ground. Me, I intend to go airborne, from the top rope, from the ring post, from the rafters if I have to. Keep looking up, $1 million man. Keep looking up, because you're going down.
The Blue Blazer has announced his strategy. Will it work? We're going to find out.
How would you feel if we saw Owen Hart and Vader in the WWE Hall of Fame next year? I'd be happy with it. It'd be cool to see him get in there. The Domed Globe NWA belt. Yeah, that would be another really good one. Yeah, big clothesline by DiBiase. Too busy showboating there, Blue Blazer. But as far as Owen going in the Hall of Fame, I kind of respect Martha Hart's decision on that. I feel like it's, God, he's still got the cape wrapped around his foot. That's an accident waiting to happen.
DiBiase's a thinking wrestler. He not only uses his mind, but he thinks in that ring. I like that nickname. He measures his opponent.
Elbow after elbow, DiBiase dominating. Did Roman backing up an ambulance at Great Balls of Fire remind you of the Attitude Era? Kind of, but it was also weird to see a babyface flat out try to murder somebody just because he lost a match fair and square. Like, Austin never did that. Roll up! 1, 2, no. Blazer with a backslide. 1, 2, no. Oh! I mean, going back to your question about Roman and the ambulance, like, when Austin did that thing to Triple H where he dropped him from the forklift, it's like, yeah, but Triple H tried to murder him, so it's like, I kind of don't blame him. Yeah, exactly. But it's like, with Braun, it was like, dude, all he did was beat you, like, fair and square. It just makes you look like a psychopath. What went wrong? Owen after Montreal. I actually liked some of the Black Heart stuff that they did with him. I also like the tag team run with Jarrett. I thought they did some good stuff together. They were kind of an underrated team. And his feud with Shamrock was good too. Yeah, I liked their SummerSlam match, and their fully loaded dungeon match I thought was pretty cool. There's a top 10 list I should probably do. Top 10 matches in wrestling history that didn't have a live audience. Oh, look at that! Blazer landed on his feet. Drop kick. Oh, flying. Suicide dive from Owen almost. It was like a flying cross body, and he dove through the ropes to do it. Looked crazy. Atomic drop, and DiBiase goes into the steps and the ring post. A little fun fact for you, DiBiase would also wrestle Bret Hart on Saturday night's main event. In 91, I believe the final episode on NBC, actually. Flying cross body. 1, 2, DiBiase kicks out. Oh! No, blah, 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 blah. Back body drop. Drop kick. Yeah, halftime Heat empty arena match. The Funk Lawler empty arena match. The King of the Road match at Uncensored 95. I'd have to go back and rewatch that. I don't want to rewatch that, though, because as a kid, I thought it was the coolest match ever. And I'm like, I'm sure it's terrible, and I don't want to have that tainted. It's like, no, in my mind, it'll always be awesome. Drop down. DiBiase caught him, power slam. 1, 2, 3. That was short but sweet. That was like a good, solid little match there. Final Deletion trilogy would be up there, sure. I'd be tempted to go with the Hollywood Backlot Brawl, even though the latter portion of the match ended in front of a live crowd. The Boiler Room Brawl at SummerSlam, that's another one. Again, even though part of the match ended in front of the crowd, Macho Man still backstage in front of Elizabeth's dressing room door. Leave the memory alone. Burger King. You know, I find it funny that a show about athletics and guys getting into great shape is selling me junk food. It's really weird. The white Bronco oh god, that's the one thing about the match I wish they would change. Like I wish they hadn't done the it's like, god, they did not need to do that. That was cringy. Did Miss Elizabeth change dresses in between segments? What's the point of that? I mean, she looks stunning as always. Will you marry me?
Are you going to be in the corner of Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 5? Or
Hogan was all sweaty and probably got the dress dirty. Fair point. Probably.
This is the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life.
Really? The hardest? You've had a pretty easy life up to this point.
Because I care for both men. This is a decision I never thought I'd have to make. I hoped it would never come down to this.
She's got like a southern drawl in her voice. I kind of like it. Kind of hot.
are you going to be in Hulk Hogan's corner for WrestleMania 5?
Is she going to be in Hogan's corner?
No, I'm not.
Boo! Crowd boos. Oh, look at Savage. He's all happy. No wonder you like Sarah Logan. Yeah, right? Right? God damn, Savage is so good. He's so good. You can't, like, that's not a character. That's just him. He's just being him.
WrestleMania 5, are you going to be in the Macho Man Randy Savage's corner?
Don't say no while he's right there. He's going to flip.
No.
You're out of line! Up near's Hulk. Again, he still sounds like he has laryngitis.
There's two reasons, Mother, why I don't take your head off out of here right now. The first reason is I've got more respect for my manager than that. No way. And the second reason is, Macho Man, I'm going to wait till WrestleMania 5 to take your head off. And I'm also going to take back what's mine, the WWF Championship.
They're playing Real American. I guess Hogan won the segment. So, okay, my whole making fun of that playing the theme music at the end of segments thing, it's like, that's not a new thing either. They did it at Clash of Champions earlier today, too, with Ron Simmons. It was like he won the segment, so we got to play his music. When it really doesn't make any sense, if you think about it. Oh, is that Pat Patterson? All right, we get Rockers and Brainbusters, the Saturday night's main event debut of both teams, I believe. The Brainbusters would go on to have a big year in 1989 and have some of the bigger matches for Saturday night's main event this year.
I don't know about you, Pee-wee, but I've had it just about up to here with the Rockers. Rockers this, Rockers that. I've had it with them. We're going to get rid of them tonight.
All right, Tully Blanchard. You know, Bobby wanted us. He wanted a great tag team that could deliver the championships. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start with the Rockers. Because what this is action personified. The greatest tag team in professional wrestling history.
All right, Arn Anderson.
Mean Gene, this is a thinking man's organization. We call it a division of labor. Bobby does the thinking. There's the speed, I'm the power. We got the connection, we got it all combined in a way that it's unstoppable to anything ever seen. We are the finest team, and we're going over the Rockers.
We got some work to do, guys.
I thank you, the Brainbusters, along with their manager. Vince, let's get back to you.
No, Mean Gene, you're coming back to me, and you know, I don't think it was strength won against Bobby Heenan in the Rick Rude match. I think it's all part of Bobby's master plan.
Oh, really? Well, Heenan's up to bat again here with the Brainbusters as they square off against Tag Team Specialist. Mean Gene Oakland is with the Tag Team Specialist, the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty.
I want to be the first to welcome the Rockers to Saturday night's main event. Marty Jannetty.
There we go. There's Shawn.
It's going to be the Brainbusters, Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson.
Oh, I tell you what, Mean Gene, this is the one the Rockers have been waiting for on national TV.
I wish more WWE GMs would be like Regal. What, with an office where he drinks tea and Jericho pees in his tea? Did you hear War Games is coming back to take over for November? I did hear that. Should be cool. As long as I'm assuming the Undisputed Era, still hate that name. I assume they're going to be the ones featured in it.
But you got to remember one thing about the Rockers. We live by that old saying: when we're good, but when we're bad, we're better.
Oh, yeah, I like that. They are the Rockers. Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels. They're going to be facing the Brainbusters. Vince, let's get back to you.
Here we go. Some great tag action here. Actually, if I recall correctly, the Rockers would also have the Brainbusters' last televised match with the WWF. Tully had already been fired for drug use, to put it mildly. And they had already taped that match, so that was the last Brainbusters match to air in the WWF. Oh, we got a big brawl going here. Slingshot suplex by Tully. No, Marty gets out of it. Go behind. Roll up by Tully. Oh, but there's no referee. Shawn. Crossbody by Shawn. There's no legal man right now. This match just got started. And nobody's gotten out. Chris Cross, come back. Rockers take down the Busters. Oh, kept up by Shawn. Arn Anderson doing his best Ric Flair impression, about to get slammed off the top. Boston Crab by Shawn Michaels. Tully misses. Shawn caught him on the way down. Rockers dropped out. Double super kick. Super kick. It's a super kick party. Oh, how Regal works currently, where he's just a guy that goes out there and makes matches and settles disputes when he needs to. Yeah, that type. And the show doesn't revolve around him. Yeah, it's great. I love it. Oh, hip toss by Shawn. Oh, head scissors takedown by Shawn. The Enforcer, Arn Anderson, featured on both shows this week. And that's probably going to be a thing for a while. Next few episodes. Drop down by Arn. Oh, boot by Arn. Caught Shawn. Oh, look at Bobby pulling down the top rope. Shawn goes flying. Get the weasel. Get the weasel. What's a storyline in WWE that was so good that you're surprised that someone was creative enough to come up with it? The Undertaker-Kane storyline in its early stages was so off-the-wall crazy, but it worked. I was kind of like, I can't believe someone came up with that. That was just brilliant. What was it? What was another one I was thinking of? I mean, the Undertaker-Kane situation, that was a perfect example of, I've said it before, oh, Bobby Heenan's getting kicked out. But anyway, that's one, like, Taker Kane is one of those examples. I say all the time, people say, it's like, oh, Patrick, you should be writing for pro wrestling in WWE. And I'm like, no, I'm not a good writer. I'm not a very creative guy. The Undertaker-Kane feud is a perfect example of, I could have never come up with that in a million years, but it's brilliant. So I think my skill, if I were involved in creative in any way, would be you pitch me an idea and I'll tell you where to go with it. And I can tell you, I can map it out for like 6 months and tell you how to build up to things. But as far as like coming up with ideas, that's not something I can do. Oh, big clothesline by Arn there. Oh, right into Tully's knee.
This is a sign of a great tag team. Like I said at the outset, look at how they're responding, even without Bobby Heenan in their corner to direct them. Carter blindness here on the part.
Oh, look at Marty. Sunset flip. No. On the creative topic, have you ever played EWR? I did once, many years ago. Yeah, I wasn't very good at it. Oh.
I'm really amazed at how well the Brainbusters have responded to the loss of Heenan. I mean, they've taken control of this match since Heenan left, and it's been like Bobby Heenan has been there all along. A great deal of difficulty in maintaining order here in this tag team matchup. Arn Anderson reaching out for Janelli now. Janelli firing off a right hand in the midsection. Over the top of Steve.
Sunset flip on Arn. No, Tully breaks it up.
Another beautiful thinking move on the part of the Brainbusters as Arn is hurled out. He illegally tagged Tully in the ring. The Busters are doing everything within the rules, McMahon. A little bending, a little stretching, somehow down breaking to Janelli firing up with the right hand.
Bridge up. Yep. Backslide. 1, 2. No. Oh. Inverted atomic drop. Busters get the tag. I think it's a really good idea for a game, but similarly, whenever I played it, I just bankrupted the company. It's, well, I also felt like, and I played it a long time ago, so I don't know what it's like now, but Spine Buster! Double A with the Spine Buster. But, it felt like the mindset on what determines a good match is based on, like, Meltzer's star rating mindset, and that's not the mindset I have, so. Would you rather see Beer Money versus Revival or American Wolves versus Revival? Beer Money. I would rather see Beer Money. Yes. I think Beer Money's got more character. See, if it's Wolves versus Revival, it's just basic character face versus basic character heels. But with Beer Money, they've got a little bit more liveliness to them. So it'll be colorful faces versus old school type of heels. Hot tag to Sean. Jesus. This match is fast and furious. Screw Dave Meltzer. Fuck Dave Meltzer. Yeah. Hey, if this match was in the Tokyo Dome, it would get 18 stars, you know. I mean, Meltzer has, like, with the recent ratings he's given to the... Oh, look at that! Sunset flip from Tully. Big shot. Two. Marty breaks it up. Hogan versus Rocket Mania is 5 stars for me. I get chills every time I watch that match. That's fair. Yeah. I'm sure Meltzer gave it like 2.5. That's the thing. Like, this is not technically sound. Oh! Double count out. But damn, that was a great match. Really good stuff there. Hogan Andre got negative stars. Which one? What, both of them? Both big ones? Yeah, like, and I love the Omega Okada matches. Don't get me wrong. I think they're amazing, and I think their match at Dominion this year is the match of the year so far. But the constant, like, giving it 6 stars and 7 stars, it's like, okay, dude, you're becoming a parody of yourself. This is getting ridiculous. Yeah, WrestleMania 3, one of the biggest matches in the history of the business, he gave negative stars to. That delivered one of the greatest moments in the history of wrestling. That's a negative star match. I can't take you seriously, Dave. I'm sorry. I just can't. How many stars did he give Ronnie Garvin and Ric Flair from that same year? Just curious. One of the most forgettable title matches I think I've ever seen. Oh, we're going to close it out with the Red Rooster versus the Brooklyn Brawler. Because nothing says main event like the Red Rooster.
I made a mistake. Forget it. Forget it. I'm very off. I apologize.
Oh!
Why are you doing that? I'm doing nothing. Why don't you do that?
Oh, God! Brooklyn Brawler just attacked Monsoon! No wonder Monsoon hates him. He gave Flair and Garvin 2.5. Okay. Yeah, Hogan Andre, one of the most memorable matches of all time, gets negative 4 stars. Flair and Garvin, one of the most forgettable main events I've ever seen in my life, that gets 2.5. Okay. Sure. Sure, Dave. Sure thing, Dave. It's just, and it's again, and that's where Dave Meltzer, the way, I don't like the way he critiques matches. I'm not saying he's right and I'm wrong, or I'm right and he's wrong. It's just, he's the type of guy that looks at a painting or a work of art and says, those are some great brush strokes. It doesn't matter what the final picture is. He likes the brush strokes and the technique. I'm the type of guy. Hogan Andre was given worst match of 80. Oh, fuck that. I can't take you seriously, Dave. I'm sorry. But anyway, he's the type of guy that looks at a painting and he appreciates it for brushstrokes and technique, regardless of what the final picture is. I'm the type of guy that takes a step back and goes, how does that painting make me feel? What's the emotional reaction I have to that painting? And I like to look at the complete picture, and that's how I look at it. Hogan Andre got worst match of 87. That sounds like somebody with an axe to grind. Like, that sounds like, and I hate to say this because I love Ric Flair. I'm not trying to say that, praising Ric Flair is wrong. It sounds like a Ric Flair mark that's trying to bury Hogan and doesn't want to give Hogan credit for anything. Not every match should be held to the same standard. Every match is different and should be looked at differently. I agree. That's the other thing with the star rating system is that he applies that same logic to, like, squash matches and popcorn matches. And I'm like, dude, it's like a completely different thing. You can't apply the same standard to every single thing that you see.
I am confident. I am somebody. I am the Red Rooster.
The blindfold match between Roberts and Martel got a dud. I think that's one of the most brilliant matches of the year. I thought that was one of the most entertaining and well-worked matches of the year. They had a situation where they had nothing, they couldn't do anything, and they entertained the crowd and made an entertaining match out of it. It's like, it's that purist mentality that's just bizarre to me. And yet he's given so many Cena matches, like 3.5 and 4 stars, and it's the same fucking match every single fucking time with very little variation. It's like, okay, sure. He gave, I think he gave Rusev and Cena in the I Quit match 4 stars, and that match nearly sucked the life out of me. Yeah, the closing match, the Brooklyn Brawler and the Red Rooster. Yeah! What was that you said about the show not being front-loaded this week? See, after watching that segment from Primetime Wrestling, I want Gorilla Monsoon to go out there and just beat the shit out of Heenan. Yeah, and I'm not saying that Cena's never had good matches. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying a lot of the ones that got like 3.5 and 4 stars, it's like, it's just the same thing every single goddamn time. It's the same thing. You know what you're getting, and it's going to be a finisher fest because, of course, it is. I mean, I can almost like, I'm looking outside. There's a giant hawk flying around outside. Rooster gets a quick win over the Brawler. At least it was short. At least it was short. That is a big-ass bird, man. Shouldn't go outside for a while. Who'd you have pushed in the 80s as the top guy if Hogan wasn't part of the WWF? Piper, Savage, and Steamboat would have been like my go-to guys. Like those would have been the guys I would have rotated in and out. And the Brawler beats up Rooster before he can get to Bobby. This is how good Bobby Heenan is. He got me to give a shit about a Red Rooster match at WrestleMania. Oh, God, where is it? Ah, the bird flew away. I can't see it. Let me see. Yeah, I ain't gone. Bird's gone. Taker versus Cena from this year's Mania was 5 stars to me. Bobby Heenan gets away. Yeah, it was 5 stars to me, too. So, yay, it was short. Yay. What does Bruce Blitz say about Cena? I'm just curious. Macho Man. We're going to close out with a real star. Where's Leonard Skinner and Freebird? It would have been 5 stars if Cena didn't botch that big boot. Oh, God, yeah, I remember his timing on that was really bad. He says he can't wrestle, has never had a good match ever, and that everyone carries Cena. So I wouldn't go that far. I just think he's a formula guy that really, really sticks to that formula to, like, an absurd degree. Oh, God, Savage losing his mind. Oh, God. Savage is savage. The rise and fall of the Mega Powers. Running through the end credits. Ooh, that bump that Liz took at the main event. We're not really getting the rise and fall of the Mega Powers. We're just getting, like, the turn, basically. God, that still looks brutal to me when he threw Liz across the room like that. That looked nasty. Yeah, Cena, though, like, there's a formula there with Austin, Hogan, and Flair. Flair especially. Like, Flair's got a really heavy formula. Brett, those guys. But I feel like I can differentiate their matches from each other. Cena, I feel like I'm watching the same fucking match every single time. Unless it's a situation where he's the heel, like the match with Bryan and the match with Punk and the match with RVD and those type of matches. Those are the Cena matches that really stand out to me. But most of the time, I just feel like I'm just seeing the same goddamn thing every single time. Like Hogan, like, okay, that match he had with Bad News Brown on this show, it follows the Hogan formula, but it was very different from a lot of other Hogan matches. Bret versus Diesel was nothing like Bret versus HBK. Exactly. It's that same type of thing. And I typically like the wrestlers who I kind of feel like I'm getting, and that was one of my knocks on the Young Bucks for a while, where I felt like I was watching the same match over and over and over again. They've gotten a lot better since then, but it was very repetitive after a while. But that concludes Saturday night's main event and the Clash of Champions. But before I close out this stream, I want to ask you guys a question. I've got a crazy idea. Because of the Great American Bash basically being just, because of this week's episode of Clash of Champions being a big setup for Great American Bash 92, how would you like for me to do a live stream where I watch Great American Bash 92? Would anybody be interested in that? Yes, Cena does call spots very loudly. He might be the worst at that I've ever seen. Would anybody be interested in a Great American Bash 92 stream? Okay, I've got one yes. Yes, I've got a couple yeses. Okay. All right, it's almost 1:45 now. All right, I'm getting a bunch of yeses here. All right. So, because you all seem interested, it's about 1:45 here. I'm going to shut this stream down, and we'll start back up at 2:30. Does that work for everybody? It'll be about 3 hours, 2:30 my time, Eastern. I'm all in. Okay, we'll kick back off at 2:30. We will watch the Great American Bash 1992. Thank you all for watching this stream, and join me at 2:30 for the Great American Bash. I'll see you in a little bit.